गुड इवनिंग जिंदल सर।
गुड इवनिंग जी शशि जी। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਵੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ।
गर्ग सर गुड इवनिंग।
Sir, good evening. How are you?
फाइन सर फाइन।
सर लो जी। नाउ वी आर लाइव आल्सो, नॉट लाइव बट रिकॉर्डेड एट यूट्यूब, विल शेयर लेटर। थैंक यू एवरीवन। टुडे वी आर rejoining, reconnecting rather, in the month of May for the second time. First we had the program related to impact of judgment on three networking firms of EY by CA Amarjit Chopra ji and CA Anil Sharma ji. We have a detailed discussion and impact of these judgments. Today we are having the most important topic, that is consideration of statutory audit, and with respect to Schedule 3, CARO and audit trail, which is the most important topic because now most of the audit has been started. Rather, listed companies have already completed their audits, but listed companies are few, but mainly 99, more than 99% companies are covered under unlisted, which has sufficient time to finalize their balance sheets, and they are going to finalize their balance sheet within a month or so. First of all, I welcome our today's guest faculty, rather expert, not only on Companies Act, rather many topics, maybe auditing, other topic as well. CA Kamal Garg ji, our founder CA Sanjay Agarwal ji will join us later. और हमारे जो को फाउंडर, रादर जो मास्टर ब्रेन की फाउंडर हमारी नेहा भी हमारे साथ जुड़ चुकी हैं, संजय जी की डॉटर नेहा अग्रवाल। और पैनलिस्ट में गौरव गुप्ता जी फ्रॉम अमृतसर, रमन सेठ जी फ्रॉम चंडीगढ़, शशि पाल जी फ्रॉम अमृतसर, देन मनोज सिद्धवानी जी, भाविका जी, विशाल थापा जी फ्रॉम उधमपुर, एंड 133 पार्टिसिपेंट स्टार्ट होते हो गए हैं और बाकी अभी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं। मीनवाइल वो ज्वाइन करते रहेंगे। मैं आप सबका वॉइस ऑफ सीए और चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट एसोसिएशन की तरफ से स्वागत करता हूं कि अब हमने इस महीने जितने भी आपके इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स हैं, चाहे वो कंपनी एक्ट के रिलेटेड है, चाहे वो 10 BBB के रिलेटेड है, चाहे वो आपका टैक्स ऑडिट रिपोर्ट के रिलेटेड है, जहां अभी रिसेंट जो जजमेंट्स आई हैं शो कॉज नोटिस के रिलेटेड, पंजाब एंड हरियाणा हाईकोर्ट जो जीएसटी की जितनी भी स्टेज मिल रही है कि शो कॉज नोटिस की वैलिडिटी नहीं है, तो इन सभी टॉपिक्स को हम इस मंथ में कवर करेंगे ताकि हमारे मेंबर्स अपनी सर्विसेज को प्रोफेशनल वे में मोर एफिशिएंटली डिलीवर कर सके। यही हमारा हमेशा प्रयास रहा है शुरू से वॉइस ऑफ सीए के माध्यम से कि हमने आज तक अपनी प्रेजेंस, चाहे भाई वे ऑफ काउंसिल हो, जहां मेंबरों के बीच में हो, भाई अपडेशन ही बनाई है शुरू से ही। संजय अग्रवाल जी की आप मेल देखते होंगे कि अपडेटेड मेल हमारी फॉर वेरियस जजमेंट्स, आज भी हमारी अपडेटेड ईमेल आती है आपको। वो सिर्फ अपडेशन के बेस पे ही, हम संजय जी को इसलिए कहते हैं कि हमें काउंसिल में काम करने वाले बंदे चाहिए, नाम वाले जहां एंट्री वाले बंदे नहीं चाहिए जो शेयर मार्केट ही देखते रहे। हमें वो चाहिए जो हमारे प्रोफेशन के लिए हमें अपने आप को भी और अथॉरिटीज को भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सके, इंस्टीट्यूट को, चाहे वो हमें इनकम टैक्स में जाना हो, गवर्नमेंट में जाना हो, कंपनी लॉ में जाना हो, नफरा में जाना हो, जहां हमारी डिसिप्लिनरी प्रोसीडिंग्स जो हमारी अथॉरिटी क्रिटेल हो रही है डे बाई डे, तो उसको भी बचाना हो और गवर्नमेंट को रिप्रेजेंट करना हो, तो हमें ऐसे ही लर्नर बंदे हमारी काउंसिल में चाहिए। तभी हमारा प्रोफेशन आने वाले टाइम में बचेगा। और ये चीजें हम ओपनली खुल के 31 अगस्त तक ही बोल पाएंगे जब तक कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट नहीं लगता। तो इसलिए मैं संजय जी को रिक्वेस्ट की है कि आप आके जो नई उनकी कमेटीज में डेवलपमेंट्स हुई हैं वो आपके साथ शेयर करेंगे, चाहे वो नेटवर्किंग गाइडलाइंस हो, जहां कंसोलिडेशन ऑफ फर्म्स, इन सभी टॉपिक्स के ऊपर संजय जी हमें एट द एंड बताएंगे। हालांकि कमल गर्ग जी ने मेरे को स्पेशली कहा है कि मेरे को इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं करना, लेकिन मतलब पर मैं हमने ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि हम इंट्रोड्यूस ना करें, बट मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा नेहा जी को कि इन शॉर्ट कमल जी को इंट्रोड्यूस करें ताकि हम अपना टाइम पे टॉपिक को स्टार्ट कर सकें। जो हमारा मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक है।
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Namaste, everyone. Welcome, Kamal sir, and all the panelists, all the participants. Thank you for joining us. I, CA Neha Agarwal, General Secretary of Voice of CA, would like to welcome you all to our webinar today. मैंने बहुत शॉर्ट करके कमल सर का इंट्रो लिखा, लेकिन उसके बाद भी कम से कम एक पेज का इंट्रो मैंने लिखा है उनके लिए. I'll try to be as brief as possible. He's a fellow member of the institute and has done BCom from DDU College, DU. He has done post-qualification of DISA and is also an insolvency professional. He has also qualified certificate course on BRSR, as well as a social auditor examination by NISM. He has been members and is still a member in various committees of NIRC and ICAI, including Board of Studies, ASB, Banking, Insurance and Pension, Financial Reporting Review Group, Ind AS IFRS Implementation Committee, and many more. He has also been contributing to resources for Peer Review Board, ESB, SRSB, CECLEA, CLCGC, CFMIP of ICAI. He is also a technical reviewer impaneled with FRRB ICAI. He was also nominated as member of expert panel of AASB of ICAI. His contributions to ASB and AASB are phenomenal. He is an eminent speaker and has addressed, I don't know how many seminars and webinars on IFRS for the members of, especially for the National Board of Accountants and Auditors, Tanzania, East Africa. And he has been doing programs on IFRS and management development programs for ICAI and ICSI also. He has been speaking on our platform also very regularly, and we are very happy to bring him back again and again on demand of the members. He has authored and wrote commentaries of over dozens of books on IFRS, financial reporting and audit, Companies Act, NAFRA, Ind AS, auditing standards, statutory audit, IBC, PMLA, CARO, FDI, and whatnot. He has to his credit the contribution of Gist of Accounting Standards and Auditing and Assurance Standards for Volume 2 of Company Law published by BLH, and has been writing articles for NIRC and CIRC for years now on various topics. He possesses a rich industry experience in the areas of corporate law, audit, and management consultancy. We welcome you again, sir. Welcome you again.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ashwini ji, for inviting me, and thank you, Neha ji, for this warm introduction, which I never expected. And I requested to save the time in the interest to profession. And I can see Gaurav ji, my past friend and even current friend. So thanks to each one of you. Shashi Pal ji, I can see you. So before I share my screen and discuss the topic, let me ask you a few questions, and if possible, try to answer these questions as well. The topic given to me is considerations for statutory audit year 2324. Let us go back to 2223. So how many of you can say with whole confidence that the statutory audit conducted for year 2223 was very well conducted audit? So I can see Neha, and I can take this liberty to ask this question directly to Neha also, my past friend and student as well. So Neha ji, how far you are confident to say that for the financial year 22-23, the audit being conducted was well conducted audit?
Sir, in words of Ahuja sir, you always say कि हम लोग कोई भी ऑडिट कितनी भी कर लें, उसके बाद भी 95% ऑडिट गलत होती है.
Now, considering this answer, I must say today's theme will be of two segments. One is the statutory audit without audit trail discussion, and second is audit trail chapter. So I will discuss my topic in two segments. One is the requirements of the Companies Act other than audit trail, and second will be the audit trail. And we do have sufficient time to discuss all these things. In my personal experience, what I observed, if I raise some questions to discuss the index, like for example, you must be also doing this practice. If you are the statutory auditor of a company, in most of the cases, you're also carrying out tax audit of the same company. I believe this is the normal customary practice. Having said that, the question arises, when you are appointed as statutory auditor, you do have the board resolution or shareholders resolution as the case may be. But the question arises, which is a very superlative question. The question is, if you are also, I emphasize the word also, if you're also carrying out tax audit of the same company, have you obtained a board resolution for the same? And if this board resolution is not there, I'm sorry to say, it's a contravention. And ages have passed from 1st April 2014 and onwards, that most of the chartered accountants are not taking this board resolution. Why this board resolution is required, I will discuss when I will share my PPT. Question number 2, which is very important again. Have you ever compared the audited financial statements with the director's report? In most of the cases, I believe the answer will be no. And why this question is being important, there could be a scenario where the information contained in director's report may not be there or may be inconsistent with the information contained in audited financial statements. So if the information contained in two literatures, one is director report and second is audited financial statement, if these two literatures have different information, what kind of report you're going to issue? In my personal experience of last 24 years, what I found, chartered accountants, I'm sorry, but I have to say, because I'm invited for that purpose, chartered accountants are not pondering this kind of difference, and because of which the deficient audit reports are issued. Question number 3 for the house. You may remember that in Schedule 3, you have to disclose auditor's remuneration. Now, when I say auditor's remuneration needs to be disclosed, in a company, we can have statutory auditor, we can have cost auditor, we can have internal auditor, we can have secretarial auditor, we can have tax auditor also. But the question arises, in the block of auditor's remuneration, are we supposed to disclose only statutory auditor's remuneration? What about other auditors? Whether they will be coming up in the block of auditor's remuneration or not? That is a question. Question number 4. How many of you have even checked whether CARO is applicable on your client or not? Maybe Ashwini ji may endorse my statement. Most of the cases, what is happening, people presume that last year CARO was applicable. That's why this CARO is also applicable. And they will simply keep on reporting the clauses of CARO. I must tell you, if CARO is not applicable, but still this report is issued, it is not only an offense under Companies Act, but also professional misconduct under Chartered Accountants Act. So we will do one numerical also to evaluate how the CARO's applicability may not be there in the current year, despite it was applicable in the preceding year. We'll check that. This is one part of my discussion. Several other questions may also come up. Second part of discussion will be audit trail. The real challenge which comes up in audit trail is, number 1, there could be a situation that the client enabled or client installed the audit trail compliance software, let us assume, on 11th of May 2024. So if this software is installed today, we cannot say it operated throughout the year. Then what to do? How to report? We'll discuss that. And Gauravji, Nehaji, one more important question. Let me ask this question now itself, which we will resolve in a while. The law says in proviso, to be very specific, proviso to Rule 3.1 of Company Account Rules, what it says. From financial years commencing on or after 1st April 23, if a company uses accounting software, see the words, company uses accounting software, then it should be audit trail compliant software. Let us keep in a simple way. So Gauravji, Nehaji, question is, the requirement to use audit trail compliant software comes up from 1st April 23. We must appreciate that the closing balances of 31st March 23 will become opening balances of 1st April 23. We must also appreciate that the audit of 31st March 23 closing will be somehow concluded maybe by July 2023. That means the last year audit will be concluded in the beginning of the current financial year. Now imagine a situation, Ashwini ji is your auditor and Ashwini ji stated, the Gaurav ji, in your financial statements, appreciation is not properly computed. Provision for bad and doubtful debts is not provided. Please do the rectifications. What you will do? Ashwini ji told you this thing, say, on 15th April. So on 15th April 2023, you will pass the journal entries as on 31st March 2023, due to which not only the closing balance of 31st March 23 is undergoing a change, but the corresponding opening balance of 1st April 23 is also undergoing a change. Now the question arises, have you ever checked whether your client software, which is so-called audit trail compliant software, is capturing the audit trail of the editing done, changes done, or modifications done in opening balances? To my experience, I found no software which is capturing this kind of audit trail, because most of the softwares are simply capturing what happened during the year, not on the beginning of the day. So how to report this thing in audit trail is important. Number three, which mistake people are committing, most of the chartered accountants are reporting that audit trail is preserved as per the statutory requirements of record retention. Now, if you are writing this scenario that yes, audit trail is preserved, it is a wrong reporting, at least for this year. Why? Reason being, I have to preserve audit trail for last 8 years as a minimum. Last 8 years as a minimum means 23-24 will be my first year of preservation, which I will be reporting in the next year. So reporting that audit trail is preserved is wrong. I will tell you how to report in a while. And one more question, then we'll share the PPT. Ashwani ji, Neha ji, Shashi ji, will you agree that fixed asset register is a books of account?
Yes, sir.
Answer is yes.
Yes.
I will show the definition when I will share PPT. We have section number 2, clause number 13. Section number 2, clause number 13 of Companies Act defines books of accounts, and one of the component of books of accounts is fixed assets. Fixed asset register, I should say. Now, problem is, if a company is maintaining fixed asset register on Excel sheets, which is very prominent, it is a very prominent practice. If a company is maintaining fixed asset register on MS Excel, whether audit trail needs to be checked? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. The chartered accountants are not even discussing in the platform ki yes, this is also one of the audit trail feature to be checked. So we'll discuss all these burning issues one by one, subject to Ashwini ji saying time pura ho gaya, you may leave. So we will discuss all these things one by one. So I am sharing my screen of the first segment. Please confirm me once my screen is visible. I believe the screen must be visible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So I am discussing the first leg of my discussion, considerations for statutory audit for FY 2324, other than audit trail. So this is other than audit trail topic. Here comes question number 1. Do you have board resolution for being appointed as tax auditor? Most of the cases, people will say answer is no. Let me ask you where it is written in the Companies Act. Where it is written in the Companies Act that you need to have this board resolution. Please take a note, section number 144 of Companies Act. Section number 144 of the Companies Act is the least complied section by the chartered accountants if they are acting as statutory auditor as well as tax auditor of the same company. To understand this scenario, let us take up a question. The question is before you. Company's RST Private Limited, you are appointed as statutory auditor at the AGM of this company, and you have filed ADT 1 for the same. You are also carrying out the tax audit of RST Private Limited. However, the same was not discussed at the board meeting or general meeting. In general, what happens is CFO or the director of finance, they will give you one letter. Please also carry out my statutory audit. Carry out my tax audit. That letter is not sufficient, because the question is there a requirement to have board resolution for appointment as tax auditor of the same company of which you are the statutory auditor? Answer is yes. Just see the words of section 144. These red highlighted words. Section 144 of Companies Act says that an auditor appointed under this act, this means the Companies Act, shall provide to the company only such other services as are approved by the board of directors or audit committee, as the case may be, but which shall not include the following services. Following may you will get bookkeeping services, internal audit services, actuarial services, like that. So let us forget about the last portion of the section, focus upon the beginning part. What they say, you can provide only those other services which are approved by the board or audit committee, as the case may be. Tax audit is one such service. Meaning thereby, in my question, if RST Private Limited is going to be audited by Gaurav ji, and RST Private also says, Gaurav ji, please also carry out my tax audit, then Gaurav ji must have two resolutions. One for his appointment as statutory auditor, and second for his appointment as tax auditor. And if this resolution is not there, somebody may question that your appointment as tax auditor was not made by the company, then how come you are carrying out the tax audit? So your appointment is under question. Your tax audit report may also come under question. So my suggestion is to the all listeners that please comply section 144 and take a board resolution or the audit committee resolution, as the case may be, regarding your appointment as tax auditor. The silver lining or the positive lining is this resolution is not required to be filed to ROC or to the income tax department. So because it is not required to be filed, you can do this resolution drafting and get this resolution done before signing off the tax audit report. If this resolution is not there, it's a contravention of section number 144, and somebody may challenge the authenticity and the validity of tax audit report also. I believe this point is clear to each one of you. So the answer I am also showing you on the screen, the answer is yes, the board resolution is required because of section 144 of Companies Act. I believe this is okay. Let me proceed further. Second issue is inconsistency in notes and the board report. Let us take a situation. The board report is being drafted by the board of directors and financial statements are audited by you. Can you please give me one or two examples which are there in director's report, but which are not generally given in notes to account, which may result in kind of inconsistency? Please understand. We do have section number 134, subsection 3, clause J, and section number 134, subsection 3, clause K. Now, section 134, subsection 3, clause J says that in the director's report, you can see on the screen also, in the director's report, the directors have to state whether any amount of profit is proposed to be carried forward to reserves. In older days, it was called as P&L appropriation account. Number second is section number 134, subsection 3, clause K. What it says, the director's report shall state whether any dividend is recommended during the year or not. No, but we need to understand, board report is saying that you have to state whether any profit is appropriated to reserves or not, and number second, whether any dividend is proposed or not. So in real world, especially for SME practitioners, what I have seen, in director report, most of the companies are writing that no profit is transferred to reserve or no dividend is declared during the year. But the same thing is not there in Schedule 3 financial statements. Schedule 3 also says, if you see the second bullet point, Schedule 3 also states that in the notes to accounts, you have to disclose, number one, amount of profit transferred to or from reserves, and number second, the amount of dividend proposed, if any. So what is happening in real world? On one hand, director's report state that no profit is appropriated to reserves and no dividend is proposed during the year. But on the other hand, the notes to accounts are silent about proposed dividend or appropriation to reserves. In such a case, it will lead to inconsistency. So what to do? For this very purpose, you may take a note. You have to refer SA 720, SA 720. I am showing the format. SA 720 states that you have to report in the following manner. So just see the screen. In your audit report, you will add one paragraph, other information paragraph, and below this other information paragraph, you will write this content. I am simply reading paragraph number 1. Rest you can read when you will get this PPT. Just focus upon my words. I will write, the company's board of directors is responsible for other information. The other information comprises the information included in director's report. So this format is given by SA 720 and they're writing X report. When you will draft your audit report, you will not write X report, you will write director's report. Listen once again. The company's board of directors is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises the information included in director's report, but does not include the financial statements and our auditor's report thereon. The director's report is expected to be made available to us after the date of this auditor's report. So when you will write this sentence, the director's report is expected to be made available to us after the date of this auditor's report. It will be a safe reporting. But if director's report is available to you in draft format on the date of signing of auditor report, then you have no other option. So when the session was about to begin, Gauravji and me were discussing peer review, that some challenges are coming. So Gauravji, this is one of the challenge. If in your working papers you have written that I received a draft director's report before the date of signing of audit report, you have no other option but to compare the two and highlight the difference thereon. But otherwise, you have a silver lining. You can always write this kind of a sentence: the director's report is expected to be made available to us after the date of this auditor's report. Very safe reporting. For this purpose, you have to refer standard SA 720. You will get to know this whole scenario over there. Up till here, any question is most welcome to ask.
आपको क्वेश्चन है तो हैंड रेज कर देना साथ साथ में जी टिल नाउ.
I believe there is no question on this front.
हैंड तो दो रेज्ड हैं, तो मैं आपको पैनलिस्ट में कन्वर्ट कर रहा हूं जी. आप इधर ही पूछ लो ना. नवीन जी और सौरभ जैन.
सर एक और हैंड रेज हुआ है, शायद इनका क्वेश्चन है कोई थर्ड पार्टिसिपेंट्स का भी. सार्थक निज्जा जी.
So let me proceed further. We will take up the questions collectively. Otherwise,
हाँ जी सर, हाँ जी एट द एंड ले लें.
now,
Sir,
next topic.
hi sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I had a small question. In case there is a situation where board report is provided as on the date of the audit report, then will this line also come in the
Then this line will change because then you have to refer the differences, if any.
right? Absolutely, that was my point. So in that case, then we would give this line, but with a different language, that board report was made available to us on the date, on the date of the audit report.
But then you have to have some more information. So what I will recommend, you should go to SA 720. There are many illustrations. One of the illustration is your question also. So you can take up language from those illustrations. I believe illustration number 2 would be there in SA 720.
But rather sir ये भी कर सकते हैं कि the board report is expected to be made available to us after signing of the audit report.
वही बात यहाँ लिखी है सर.
Same date में भी मिल सकती है.
Right.
वही बात यहाँ लिखी है.
Right. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, board resolution approving the financial statements. So this is a NAFRA order of 12th April 2023, and it is required to be followed by all the auditors. I repeat the word all. So you cannot say that I'm a small auditor, I do not have the listed company audit, so NAFRA is not applicable. The question of applicability is not here. It is all about the compliance which NAFRA wants from all the auditors, and that is the NAFRA order dated 12th April 2023. So what this NAFRA order says and why this NAFRA order says. So for the purpose of why, read first bullet point. You know very well that first the board approves, then auditor audits. And for this very purpose, we have section number 134, subsection 1. Section 134, subsection 1 states that approval of financial statements by the board and its signing by the persons authorized by the board are prerequisites before an auditor makes a report on such approved and signed financial statements. Now, what NAFRA says, which is required to be complied by all the auditors, the auditors shall, the word is shall, so mandatory requirement, the auditor shall have to obtain a certified copy of board resolution approving the financial statements and authorizing the directors to sign the financial statements, and should have kept the same in audit file before its assembly. So now what you have to do, if say in the board of directors, there are 4 directors, A, B, C, and D, minimum 2 directors have to approve the financial statements. In such a case, what you need to do, you have to take a certified copy of that board resolution and document the same in your working paper file. That is what the NAFRA order says. And until now, what was happening? People were a bit careless and they were taking the things for granted. So this kind of certified copy was not there in the audit file. Now, this will not be done. You have to have this certified copy in your audit working paper file. Let us take up this question. For the sake of those companies who are into corporate insolvency resolution process, this question assumes a special significance. So company is RST Private Limited and it is undergoing CIRP under IBC. CIRP stands for corporate insolvency resolution process, and IBC stands for Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Now what happened here, Mr. X is appointed as insolvency professional for RST Private Limited. Mr. R, Mr. S, and Mr. T all are suspended directors. Please focus upon the word suspended. So the directors are suspended. You know very well, once IBC kicks in, the insolvency professional is appointed and the directors are suspended. So the question is whether on the financial statements of RST Private Limited, such suspended directors also have to sign or not. This is one of the burning questions nowadays, especially for those auditors who are auditing the financial statements of a company which is under CARP. And I must give the credit of this question to Ashwani ji. Some months back, this question was asked to me by Ashwani ji, so I thought, why not cover this question in the sessions also? I believe the question is clear. If the company goes into CARP, so insolvency professional will sign. But whether suspended directors also need to sign the financial statements? Answer is yes. But you need to understand the directors are suspended, meaning thereby their powers are suspended. Their duties are not suspended. So because their powers are suspended, their duties are not suspended, the suspended directors also need to sign the financial statements of a company which is into CARP. And for this purpose, we have a judgment also. National Company Law Appellate Tribunal in CLC, let me show on the screen, in CLC Industries case held that yes, they have to sign the financial statements. So in case you are the auditor of a company which is into CARP, ensure that as a minimum 2 suspended directors are also signing the financial statements, else it's a contravention. So primarily on that corporate debtors financial statement, there will be 3 signatures. One is insolvency professional, second is director 1, and then director number 2, as the case may be. And for this purpose, I would recommend each one of you, if you have this kind of a client, download this judgment of CLC Industries case, document this judgment so that it could be helpful for a peer review also, for later stages also.
कमल जी,
Yes, sir.
सर ये इस केस में अगर डायरेक्टर का बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन कैसे लेंगे फिर हम? जो पहला
डायरेक्टर का जो बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन होगा वाया आईपी होगा,
वाया
आईपी इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल होगा.
बट आईपी तो बोर्ड मीटिंग दिखाई नहीं रहा ना. आईपी
बोर्ड मीटिंग में दिखा रहा ना, डीम्ड बोर्ड मीटिंग बनेगी ना. So what will happen, the IP will call upon a board meeting only for the limited purposes of approving the financial statements. Because when we say board, the board is suspended only for the powers, not for the duties.
but power has been transferred to IP ना.
But this is not a power ना, this is a duty that you have to sign.
नहीं, लेकिन उसमें वो बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन अवेलेबल नहीं है. डायरेक्टर फिर भी साइन करने को तैयार है, लेकिन बोर्ड मीटिंग तो हो ही नहीं रही ना.
और नवीन जी इसमें काम कीजिएगा, CLC का केस पढ़िएगा, बिकॉज अगर मैं इसको भी यहाँ डिस्कस करूंगा तो टॉपिक छूट जाएगा.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
We will go into secretarial practice and we will forget about this segment.
चलो मैं लिख लेता हूँ ये.
The only thing is the theme of this judgment and the conclusion is, when we say board meetings have normally twin purposes. One is the power of the board and second is duty of the board. To the extent of duty, the board still exists. But that duty will not override the wishes of insolvency professional. So what will happen? A resolution will be passed whereby IP will be writing, resolved that the financial statements of this company are approved for the purpose of onward submission to auditors for audit in the presence of 2-3 जो भी directors होंगे, in the presence of those directors, and they will also sign. Now, other one is a newly incorporated company and subscription money. So I will discuss this topic not theoretically. I will take a practical numerical problem. I shouldn't have a numerical problem, a case study. So let us discuss this case study first of all. Let us assume the company name is RST Limited and it was incorporated on 28 December 2023. The subscribers undertook to bring in rupees 5 lakhs towards the subscription money in terms of Section 10 Capital A of the Companies Act. Let me recall what is Section 10 Capital A saying. Section 10 Capital A of Companies Act says that if a company is a newly incorporated company, then their subscribers have to bring in subscription money within 180 days of company's incorporation. I repeat, Section 10 Capital A says if a company is a newly incorporated company, then the subscribers have to bring in subscription money within 180 days of company's incorporation. If a company is a newly incorporated company, then the subscribers have to bring in subscription money within 180 days of company's incorporation. I repeat, Section 10 Capital A says if a company is a newly incorporated company, then the subscribers have to bring in subscription money within 180 days of company's incorporation. That is what section 10 capital A says. Now the question further puts in, the amount of subscription money was not received as at 31st March 2024. How should this be reflected in the financial statements of RST Private Limited for the financial year 2324? This is my question number one. And then question number second is, what is the auditor's responsibility if, sub question number one, the amount was still not received and audit report was signed on 18th June 2024. And number second, the amount was still not received and the audit report was signed on 18th July 2024. Let us move one by one. So if you see the very inception, it says that the company was incorporated on 28 December 2023. I must ask you this way, in this very question, what will be the balance sheet date or the year closing date? Or I should rather say financial year ending date for RST Limited.
31st March 2024.
31st March 2024. So if you refer section number 2, clause 41, which defines financial year, what it says, if a company is incorporated on or after 1st January, and the financial year will be ending on 31st March of the next following year. Keeping that thing in mind here in this question, 31st March 2024 will be the year ending date. Now, question number one, how should this be reflected in the financial statements of RST Private Limited for the financial year 2324? So my question is very simple. As on 31st March 2024, this rupees 5 lakhs needs to be disclosed or presented, or both needs to be done in the financial statement.
Sir, I have a small doubt. Sorry to interrupt you in between, but in case the subscriber's money is not received by the company would not be able to file INC 20A.
Sir, we are jumping onto the conclusion very soon because the period was 180 days. And as on 31st March 2024, 180 days are yet to expire.
Right, but till the time the INC 20A is not filed, we can't assume that company has been incorporated, right? Because it has
So
not
this is-
commenced. Sorry, not commenced this business.
No, sir, I would suggest refer section 10 capital A, what it says, until this money is received, you cannot exercise two powers, borrowing powers,
Right.
right? Another
Right.
one is,
I'll have to look up.
so that is the thing. When we say now that we cannot commence business, that statement itself is going on a wrong direction.
All right. All right.
So yes, as on 31st March 2024, whether we need to pass any journal entry for rupees 5 lakhs or not.
Yes, sir.
What is the journal entry? Normally, what is observed in my practical experience, people are not passing any journal entry for rupees 5 lakhs. They are merely disclosing rupees 5 lakhs in the notes to accounts that subscribers have made this promise. See, disclosure of promise and the amount therein is required. I agree. But journal entry is also required. And for the sake of journal entry, let me start debit. You tell me the credit. So debit will be subscription money receivable account debit. Subscription money receivable account debit rupees 5 lakhs. 2. What shall be the 2?
Equity share capital?
Yes, equity share capital. So please take a note, section number 2, clause 64. Section number 2, clause 64 defines paid up capital. In our case, it is paid up equity capital. So section number 2, clause 64 says there are two kinds of paid up capital. One is actual paid up, de facto paid up. So whatever money you brought in, that is actual. But this promise is called as deemed paid up capital. So journal entry will be subscription money receivable account debit to paid up capital account. And what will happen? This subscription money receivable will be shown on the asset side. Now question is, I will show this on an asset side and equity capital and paid up capital on the equity side. But subscription money receivable, where it will be shown? Current asset or non-current asset? Non-current asset.
Current.
Because if I say on the asset side, ये तो class 12 वाला आंसर हो जाएगा ना, asset side.
Current
Chartered accountant, current asset or non-current asset?
Current assets.
It will be current asset. Now one more question. Below the current asset, which sub item?
Sir, financial current assets में दिखाया था हमने, financial other assets.
Financial ले जाएगा, बस यही गलती होती है. If we are following Ind AS,
Yeah.
Some people take a wrong conclusion, it will go to financial.
Okay.
So what do we need to understand? It will go to other current assets. It will go to other current asset.
Other currencies.
Now, it will go to other current asset in both AS and Ind AS. So two things we need to learn over here. One is it will be having a balance sheet date entry and it will be reflected as other current asset and equity. And number third, it will be disclosed in notes to accounts also. What is important to understand, as on 31st March 2024, 180 days are yet to expire. To that extent, there seems no problem. But the problem arises when Naveen Jain ji will sign the audit report. Now, for this, we have two questions. If I say company is incorporated on 20th December, 180 days will expire somewhere on 26th June 2024.
Yes.
Nearby 26th June. Now, the challenge is Naveen ji is signing the audit report on 18th of June. 10 days approximately, 10 days before the expiry of 180 days, but this money is not received. And second problem is the challenging problem. Money is not received. 180 days expired and Naveen ji is signing on 18th of July. So close to 1 month expired, but money not received on date of signing of audit report. So in such a case, what kind of audit report should be issued? So because I made Naveen ji as the auditor of this company, so let me get the answer Naveen ji itself. Naveen ji is my close friend, so I am taking liberty of asking the question.
Sir, 18 June, I am okay with that entry and the notes to accounts that subscription money is not received till date or it is last date is something. But 18 July is something typical. Matlab, ideally, we have to qualify the report.
So you are saying for B, we will qualify?
Sorry?
You are saying for clause number B, we will qualify the report?
हाँ मतलब आइडली मतलब आया नहीं कभी मेरे पास ऐसा केस अभी पढ़ के ही मैंने थोड़ा अंदाजा लगाया.
Okay. For clause number B, it is quite apparent that section 10 is contravened.
Contravened.
We will qualify the report for sure.
Yes.
But what about clause number A again? And what about clause number B again, in addition to qualification? What section 10 capital A says, I will come to it in a while again. Please understand, if I will come to clause number B, first is qualification, contravention of section 10A. Second is going concern. Please take a note, section number 248, subsection 1, clause D. Section number 248, subsection 1, clause D says that, I am saying in very plain words, if section 10 is contravened, ROC has the powers to strike off the name of the company after providing opportunity of being heard. Now on 18th of July, there can be multiple scenarios. Scenario number 1, the show cause notice was not received by the company. And scenario number 2 is show cause notice was received by the company. In all the cases, going concern is getting uncertain. So what you have to do, you have to comply SA 570. And on the face of audit report, you have to report material uncertainty about going concern. That is what clause B is warranting. And what about clause number A? Clause number A is the 180 days are yet to expire and the date of audit report is very near to the 180th day. In such a case, it's my personal opinion that we should issue emphasis of matter paragraph. Emphasis of matter paragraph is given by SA 706. What it says? Emphasis of matter paragraph is given for those matters which are fundamental to the understanding of users of financial statements, which are already disclosed in notes to accounts and which do not require any qualification. It is a fundamental matter. So we should issue emphasis of matter paragraph. Now, one of the gentlemen was asking questions, so let me resolve that question also. Section 10 capital A says, until you receive this money in totality, you cannot exercise borrowing powers, number 1. And number 2, you cannot commence business. So when we say commence business means you cannot carry out business operations. But you have to do basic company law compliances, even if you do not have certificate of commencement of business. So basic company law compliances and commencement of business are two different things. And for that very matter, preparation of financial statements, even if this certificate of commencement of business is not received, is not the basic compliance. You cannot say that I will not prepare financial statements because I am yet to commence business operation. So for that very matter, the solution is, just see the solution. I have already kept the solution here. In case number A, you have to issue EOM report, which stands for emphasis of matter report. In case number second, you will qualify the report and you will also report about going concern uncertainty by virtue of section 248(1)(d) read with SA 57. So these are general entries. When you will get the PPT, you will get the solution also.
Sir, just a small question related to this only, INC 28. So we had a case last year where the company was incorporated in 2018 and no INC 20A was filed.
Right.
And eventually, the client wanted to get the company, he wanted to, dissolve and have a strike off. So, and that was post 11th May. That is when the, notice came with respect to the fact that no strike off can be done until all the previous financial statements have been filed.
Right, absolutely right.
So at that point of time, once we went for the strike off, that was the first rejection we received, that all the previous financials needs to be filed.
Right.
With respect to that reply from the ROC, we made a reply to the fact that since INC 20A was never filed by this company and financial and business was never commenced, therefore, as a result, financials were not required, and that plea was accepted by ROC. And eventually they strike off the company. So my question here arises around the fact that was it a one-off case, because basis the previous discussion which you were which you were throwing light on, the fact that it is becomes essential even if INC 20 is not filed, you need to file the financial statements.
Yes. So what happened, because you replied to the ROC that INC 20A was not filed, so if you will see the order, he would have struck off the company under section 248(1)(d), not under 248(1)(a).
All right.
So when you initially went to ROC,
right,
striking off, that was voluntary application under 248(1)(a).
Right.
But what ROC did is 248(1)(d).
All right.
Okay. So how many of you are confident? And I would request Naveen ji to do not reply this question because he is a party related. We have discovered this problem several times on LinkedIn also. My question to the people is, how far you're confident about CARO's applicability vis-a-vis small firm? To spill the beans, let me put before the house two questions. And please do not search in Google. This is your question number one. Please tell me whether CARO is applicable or not on XYZ Private Limited for the financial year 2024, if I assume that CARO was applicable on this company in the year 2223. This is my question number one. You may take 30 seconds to absorb the data. So you have paid up capital, reserve surplus, borrowings from banks and financial institutions, total turnover, revenue. And in year one, I am saying CARO is applicable. Year two, whether CARO is applicable or not, most of us are doing the audits, and this 2324 is our subject matter audit as of now. So agar ye aapka client hai, let us assume XYZ Private is your client, then please tell me whether CARO is applicable or not in the year 2324. Now, with this same set of data, let me change the question with a minor modification. Just see here. Same question almost. If you will see, in the year 2223, total revenue is becoming 34 crores. Earlier it was 44 crores, if you see the change. Now, please tell me, if I change the figures, whether CARO is applicable or not on XYZ Private Limited for the year 2324. So only one person is exempted from answering, Naveen ji. So this we have already deliberated on social media in past. Is any answer? Ashwini ji, can you help me if किसी ने आंसर दिया है तो?
सर चैट बॉक्स में ही आएगा, एक मिनट.
Okay.
It's not applicable because
no
completed year 4 crore 40 lakhs limit is not complied.
आप जो सिंपल क्वेश्चन है जी नो यस वाले काइंडली वो चैट बॉक्स में दें, और जो आपने रेज करनी है को क्वेरी वो आप क्यूए में दें.
So what you need to understand, let me solve the question in the interest of time. For
जो
the
रिस्पॉन्स है
financial
वो
year,
काइंडली चैट बॉक्स में दें.
for the financial year 23-24, अभी जो आपके सामने question है, the question which you're observing on the screen, please tell me whether for the year 23-24, In this question, XYZ Private Limited, it is a small company or not? Whether XYZ Private Limited is a small company or not for the financial year 23-24. Let me check. So forget about CARO. Only tell me whether it's a small company or not. Those of you who are saying yes, I'm afraid, and I'm sorry to say, are wrong answers. For the year 2024, those of you who are saying that XYZ Private Limited is a small company, the answers are wrong. Why the mistake is being committed? The mistake is committed because people do have a perception that small company means a private company whose paid up capital is not exceeding rupees 4 crores and turnover is not exceeding 40 crores. So what the people did, they checked paid up capital is 48 lakhs and turnover 38 crores. This is the mistake which committed. Please understand section number 2, clause 85 says, a small company means a private company whose paid up capital is not exceeding rupees 4 crores and turnover of the preceding year is not exceeding 40 crores. So turnover of the preceding year need to be checked and paid up capital of the current year needs to be checked. In this question, what is happening? The paid up capital is 48 lakhs, which is less than 4 crores. But last year turnover is 44 crores, which is more than 40 crores. So it is not a small company. And because it is not a small company, CARO will be applicable. Why CARO will be applicable? Because general conditions of private company will be applicable. Now, if you refer general conditions of private company, what it says, if the borrowing is more than 1 crore, then CARO will become applicable. So in this first part, CARO is applicable because it is not a small company, but borrowings are more than rupees 1 crore. Now check this question. In this question, whether CARO is applicable or not. Again, the same scenario. Whether in this question, XYZ Private Limited is a small company. Answer is yes. Because its current year paid up capital is less than 4 crores and previous year turnover is less than 40 crores. So because current year paid up capital is less than 4 crores and previous year turnover is less than 40 crores, it's a small company. Because it's a small company, CARO will not be applicable. Let me show you the definition of small company for the sake of benefit. Just see. Section number 285, but it says a small company means a company which is having paid up capital of less than equal to 4 crores and turnover as per preceding year period less than 40 crores. So ये ध्यान रखना है, we have to very concentrative here. Small company के लिए paid up capital देखना है current year का, we have to see paid up capital of the current year, but turnover of the preceding year and turnover, not total revenue. Total revenue will include interest also. So I have to check only turnover, यानी कि basic revenue. And having said that, if I come back to this question, in this question, XYZ Private is small company because current year paid up capital is less than 4 crores and preceding year turnover is less than 40 crores. It's a small company. Now there is a new problem. The new problem is, shall I say CARO is not applicable on XYZ Private Limited because it is a small company, or shall I say that CARO is applicable on XYZ Private Limited because it is a small company, because it's a private company whose borrowings are more than 1 crore. I read my question once again. Shall I say CARO is not applicable on XYZ Private Limited because it is a small company? Or shall I say CARO is applicable on XYZ Private Limited because it is a private company whose borrowing is more than 1 crore? ये तो हम सब जानते हैं ना, प्राइवेट कंपनी का बोरोइंग बैंक से अगर 1 करोड़ से ऊपर हुआ तो CARO लग जाता है उसके ऊपर. अब मेरा क्वेश्चन यहाँ पर ये है, इफ आई से दिस इन हिंदी, क्या मैं ये कहूं कि XYZ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड पर CARO एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा क्योंकि यह स्मॉल कंपनी है, या मैं ये कहूं कि XYZ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड पर CARO एप्लीकेबल हो जाएगा क्योंकि ये की ऐसी प्राइवेट कंपनी है जिसका बैंक से लिया गया बोरोइंग 1 करोड़ से ऊपर है? व्हाट शुड आई से? CARO not applicable or yes applicable? Answer is CARO not applicable. This WhatsApp University has spoiled the entire game set of CARO applicability, because on WhatsApp University people are saying CARO is applicable. At least read what institute issued. We do have guidance note on CARO 2020. Para number 12 of guidance note on CARO 2020, what it says? पैरा नंबर 12 नोट कर लीजिएगा. पैरा नंबर 12 of guidance note on CARO 2020 says if a company becomes small company and CARO is not applicable, then general conditions about private company need not be checked. And that is what guidance note says, and hence CARO is not applicable here. So just see what I told you. Para 12 of ICI guidance note on CARO 2020 says once a company qualifies as a small company, CARO will not be applicable and general conditions meant for private companies need not be evaluated. What is the precaution? The precaution is when you prepare the audit report, we have a heading, legal and regulatory requirements. Below that heading, we have to add a paragraph that we report that CARO is not applicable on this company because it is small company. That is what we have to do. I believe this point is clear to each one of you. And I must tell you, Naveen ji, bas 1 minute ho dena. I must tell you, if CARO was not applicable and CARO is issued, it's a professional misconduct under clause 1, clause 7, clause 8 of second schedule of Chartered Accountants Act. And it is an offense under section 143 subsection 11 read with section 450 of Companies Act. You cannot take a plea.
ये तो करो
Sir,
मरो ना
joint
सर,
जिंदल
ये
साहब
तो हो गया, करो तो भी मरो, ना करो तो भी मरो. ऐसे ही वो मतलब एक हमारे काउंसिल मेंबर है, मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा क्योंकि हम तो सिर्फ संजय जी का ही नाम लेते हैं. तो वो बड़ा डरा के जाते हैं कि जी अगर आपने टैक्स ऑडिट कर दिया लेकिन टैक्स ऑडिट एप्लीकेबल नहीं है तो वो आपके ऊपर जी डिसिप्लिनरी हो जाएगी.
तो सर इसका आंसर तो मेरे संजय जी ज्यादा अच्छा दे सकते हैं क्योंकि डायरेक्ट टैक्स कमेटी तो वही देख रहे हैं.
नहीं, मैं जनरली वो उसमें कह रहा हूँ डीसी में, जैसे आप इसमें कह रहे हो कि कारो कर दिया तो ऐसे तो फिर टैक्स ऑडिट कर दिया, अगर आपका लगता नहीं है तब भी फिर हो जाएगी सर.
This is a fact. If tax audit was not applicable and it is done, it is also professional misconduct. But good thing is, it is not an offense under Income Tax Act. But in case of CARO, it is offense also under Companies Act. अश्विनी जी एक बात बोलूं मैं ना, पंजाब में हरियाणा में बड़ी बात फेमस है कि हमने कुछ एक्स्ट्रा ही दिया है ना, कम तो नहीं दिया. मेरा कहना यह है कि अगर शरीर में एक्स्ट्रा हड्डी होती है ना, तकलीफ देती है, तो ये CARO वही एक्स्ट्रा हड्डी बन जाएगी अगर एप्लीकेबल ना होने पर भी रिपोर्ट कर दिया गया तो. So I believe this point is clear. Simple thing is, if you want to check CARO now, always move with step number 1, whether your client is a small company or not. If the client is small company, by default, CARO is not applicable. Nothing needs to be done further. But precaution here is, which people committed a mistake even today, when you check whether client is small company or not, check turnover of previous year, not of the current year. So there could be a possibility that preceding year turnover, Naveen ji, is 38 crores and current year turnover 50 crores. Still the company small company. Next year onwards, the status will change.
So that means, sir, for small company we have to check only 2 conditions. One is the turnover and second is the paid up capital.
Yes, paid up capital current year and turnover of preceding year. And इसमें precaution क्या है? Turnover पिछले साल का देखना है और turnover में other income add नहीं होगी. The word turnover is defined by section 2 clause 91 of Companies Act.
Basically we can say, sir, the income, whichever income is by way of operation, that is your turnover.
That is your turnover, simple भाषा में.
सर इसमें मेजर कंपनीज फिर निकल जाएंगी हमारी काफी CARO एप्लीकेबिलिटी.
अगर निकल जाती है तो आपको तो खुश होना चाहिए, अश्विनी जी की तारीफ करनी चाहिए.
सलील जी फीस उतनी ही ले लेना, काम कम करना.
तो पूरी मिलती है सर, CARO की फीस कहाँ मिलती है, हमें काम करना पड़ जाता है. बट विद दिस क्योंकि हम बेसिकली देख लेते थे 1 करोड़ से ऊपर अगर उसकी लोनिंग बोरोइंग कैपिटल है तो हम CARO एप्लीकेबल कर देते थे. वैसे
जी हम क्या देखते थे, हम देखते थे केवल ये 4 कंडीशन.
हाँ बस बिल्कुल. तो ये जो टोटल बोरोइंग्स अगर ग्रेटर देन 1 करोड़ है तो हम एप्लीकेबल कर देते थे.
अब सलील जी मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ, ये 4 कंडीशंस जब देखनी है,
इसके साथ
2 कंडीशंस पूरी ना हो,
स्मॉल कंपनी देखनी है सबसे पहले. बस
यस
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू सो मच.
So I will skip this internal controls or financial reporting because what the law says, if you are a small company, reporting about internal controls or financial reporting is also not applicable because we have already understood it is small company. So I will skip this one. Now let me come to a tough question. Can a private company accept deposits from its members? So let us assume there is a private company, RST Private Limited. In RST Private Limited, there are 3 directors, R, S, and T, and their shareholders also. Question arises whether a private company can accept deposits from members also.
कर दो donator.
Because what the law says, if you are a private company, you can accept deposits from directors and their relatives. But there is a condition that this money which directors are giving you should be out of their own money, not borrowed money. But my question is next level question, whether a private company is also allowed to accept deposit from the members, that is shareholders. Answer is yes.
Yes.
Answer is yes. 2 amendments have taken place. One in 2015 and then in 2020. Considering all these amendments, what the scenario today is, the law says a private company can accept deposits from its members where, number 1, it accepts from the members' monies up to 100% of paid up capital plus free reserves plus securities premium account. Or ये तीनों conditions, these all 3 conditions A, B, and C are independent, not dependent on each other. Or your private company, the startup company. So if your private company, the startup company, for next 10 years of its incorporation, you can accept any amount of deposit. So in case number A, the ceiling is 100% of paid up capital plus free reserves plus securities premium. In case number 2nd and case number 3rd, it is infinity. So if paid up capital is rupees 100 and the private company falls into B or C, you can take a loan from them for infinity amount. No problem at all. Case number C, it fulfills the following conditions. So मान लीजिए company है ABC Private Limited. If this ABC Private Limited fulfills all these 3 conditions, then infinity amount of deposit can be accepted from the members. Condition number 1. This ABC Private Limited is not an associate or subsidiary of any other company. Or the second condition is borrowings of such company, that is ABC Private Limited, from banks or financial institutions or body corporate is not more than twice the paid up capital or 50 crore rupees, whichever is lower, and it has not defaulted in repayment of above said borrowings. So if these conditions are cumulatively fulfilled, then you can accept deposits from the members of the private company for infinity amount. And I must say this infinity will go up to 50 crore somehow. So this is a very big advantage.
सर ये एनबीएफसीज में तो नहीं लगेगा ना, उसमें तो रिजर्व बैंक का एक्सेप्शन,
उसका बिजनेस ही है ना सर ये वाला, तो वहां से एनबीएफसी तो बाहर हो जाएगी इससे.
ठीक है सर.
So what I am trying to say, most of the chartered accountants are oblivion of this notification. They do simply believe that only directors are permitted to give loan to the company, even members are permitted. How many of you do know what is ceiling on number of statutory audits? कितने audit कर सकते हैं आप? Statutory audits.
30.
30. So let us understand what the law says and what the institute says. We do have section number 141 subsection 3 clause G. Section number 141 subsection 3 clause G says a chartered accountant can undertake maximum 20 statutory audits. In June 2015, one notification came up from Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and the notification stated when you will count this 20, certain companies will not be counted. 1-person company, small company, dormant company, and those private companies which are having paid up capital of less than rupees 100 crores. This is the notification I am showing you. Now, because of this whole scenario, what was the interpretation coming up? The interpretation coming up was that I can take 20 statutory audits of, say, public companies, and infinite, I emphasize the word infinite, an infinite number of statutory audits of these 4 categories of companies. To overcome unfair distribution of work, in February 2020, the council issued a guideline, Council of IC issued a guideline, and what it stated, that total number of statutory audits will not go beyond 30 per partner, and in that 30, you will not count only 2 companies, 1-person company and dormant company, meaning thereby in overall 30, small company and private company having paid up capital of less than 100 crores will be counted. So this is the new equation now. Just see this equation. Limits under section 141(3)(g plus exemptions under section 141(3)(g other than OPC and DC cannot go beyond 30 audits per partner. And if you are a proprietor, then proprietor. Consider this case study and tell me where you have to make a choice of leaving or accepting the audits. The following companies approached Mr. X, CA, for statutory audits. Public companies existing, 14, so 14 public companies already आपकी client हैं. New clients which approached you, private companies with less than 100 crores of capital, 6, private companies with more than equal to 100 crores of capital, 4, OPC 5, DC 2, small companies 8. So in totality, you have these new clients approaching you, 6, 4, 5 to 8. Now, please tell me, what are those clients or what are those categories of clients where you have to make a choice to leave them or to accept them? I was addressing in a seminar in Delhi, and Ashwini-ji, what happened after the close of seminar? One member came and said, "Sir, my limits are more than 30. What to be done?" So people are not aware of this limit also. I'm not saying all, but maybe close to majority. So my question to the house is, in this question, what clients categories you will ignore or accept?
Small
What's
company, you have to leave, sir. As per ICA, you have to leave 2 small companies.
Okay. So let us move one by one. We have existing public companies 14. ये तो मेरे पास
Yes,
है
sir.
ही. Now private companies less than 100 crores capital, they are
6.
exempted categories as far as company law is concerned. We will come to ICA in a while.
I ignored this here.
So I
Wonderful.
will, if we see exemptions of ICAI and exemptions of MCA, we will have to check common exemptions.
Common exemption,
Common
yeah.
exemptions are OPC and DC.
Yeah.
So these 5 and 2 I will ignore because these are not countable. Balance I will capture. So this will be the scenario. Let's see.
Then also, sir, only 2.
So what will happen? I will take 14 existing private companies more than equal to 100 crores, 4, I will count them. Then I will make a choice in other exempted categories. But to make a choice and not, overall limit should not go beyond 30.
Beyond 30.
Main ideology is not only statutory audit. The real problem is this question. Take this question and let me see how many of you will be able to correctly reply. Say, while making a choice under section 141(3)(g read with council guidelines, Mr. X declined to audit DEF Private Limited small company. DEF offered him to undertake its tax audit. Can Mr. X accept the tax audit? Assume that as on date he has only 56 tax audits of various assets. So
Yes, sir.
क्लाइंट कहता है कि आप मेरा स्टैट ऑडिट नहीं कर सकते, मेरा टैक्स ऑडिट ही कर दो.
कर सकते हैं सर, क्यों नहीं कर सकते?
नहीं कर
अगर
सकते.
वो विद इन लिमिट है तो वो कर सकते हैं, वो काउंट नहीं
नहीं
होगा.
कर सकते सर.
क्यों सर?
Reason being amendment made in Finance Act 2015.
कि अदर असाइनमेंट है.
हाँ, वही बता रहा हूँ सर. Finance Act 2015 made an amendment in section 288. We must be aware section 288 defines accountant. Now, by virtue of Finance Act 2015, we have the provisions regarding disqualification of tax auditor. What the law says? The law says, if you are not eligible to be appointed as auditor of a company under Companies Act, you are also not eligible to be appointed as tax auditor of the same company. This is law. Let's see on the solution. If you refer section 288 of Income Tax Act, what it says, if a CA is disqualified to be appointed as statutory auditor of a company, then he is also disqualified to be appointed as tax auditor of such company. In my given question, the chartered accountant has only 56 tax audits. He can still undertake 4 more audits, but still he will not be able to undertake tax audit of DEF. Why? Because of the amendment brought in by Finance Act 2015. This says, अगर आप कंपनी का स्टैट ऑडिट नहीं कर सकते तो आप उसका टैक्स ऑडिट भी नहीं कर सकते. If you are disqualified as statutory auditor of the same company, you cannot become the tax auditor also. Please take a note of this thing. When you will get the PPT, you will have the solution also. Now, next discussion is auditor's remuneration. Consider this question. Which of the following auditor will be considered for auditor's remuneration? So in Schedule 3 notes, you have to disclose auditor's remuneration. So we have statutory auditor, internal auditor, secretarial auditor, tax auditor, cost auditor. Which of the auditor's remuneration will be reflected, will be disclosed in the column of auditor's remuneration? Take 30 seconds to reply. Because one thing is certain, statutory auditor का तो आएगा ही आएगा. From 2, 3, 4, and 5, which remuneration will come up in auditor's remuneration? I got my answer as 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Just see very carefully. The solution is statutory auditor always yes. Remuneration paid to internal auditor will not come up because of section number 138. Because internal auditor is not considered as our auditor under the Companies Act. Then secretarial auditor, answer again is no, because as per section 204, secretarial auditor is also not considered as our auditor. Tax auditor, yes, but there is a condition. Tax auditor's remuneration will come only when statutory auditor and tax auditor both are same. And then cost auditor, answer is yes. Cost auditor is also considered auditor under the Companies Act by virtue of section number 148(5). मैं थोड़ा बता देता हूं आपको. Section 148 subsection 5 states that all the provisions which are applicable to statutory auditor other than appointment removal will also be applicable mutatis mutandis to cost auditor. तो अब से जब आप P&L बनाएं तो ये ध्यान रखें कि cost auditor का remuneration भी auditor remuneration में आएगा. So you have to disclose cost auditor's remuneration even in the table of auditor's remuneration by virtue of section 148 subsection 5.
एक क्वेश्चन है कि जो अगर आपकी कॉम्बो डील है कि आप जी मान लो 5 लाख फीस ले रहे हो फॉर बोथ स्टैट्यूटरी एज वेल एज टैक्स ऑडिट, तो बाइफरकेट करके दिखानी जरूरी है?
बाइफरकेशन जरूरी है बिकॉज शेड्यूल 3. शेड्यूल 3 का ब्रेकअप कहता है कि आपको बाइफरकेट करना है. Let us discuss one question on GST ITC, but before I discuss, let me give a disclaimer. I am discussing this question from accounting and auditing angle, not from GST angle per se. So please do not ask me any question of GST. मुझे GST आता भी नहीं है. So let us come to this question, and I will be happy to have your replies. The books of accounts of RST Private Limited are reflecting GST ITC receivable for rupees 1.60 crores. On the other hand, the GST portal is reflecting the ITC only for 1.20 crores. The management of the company has obtained a legal opinion of one of the renowned advocate and has accordingly not reversed the ITC difference of 0.40 crores. The GST output liability for the period has been, say, rupees 2.10 crores. On the basis of such legal opinion, the following journal entry was passed in the books of accounts. GST output liability account debit 2.10 crores. To GST ITC receivable account 1.60 crores. To bank account 0.50 crores. What audit consideration should be complied in the above situation? I give you 30 seconds to reply back. क्या होना चाहिए आपके साथ? Yes, any answer? Please take a note. Section number 143, subsection 1, clause B. Section number 143, subsection 1, clause B says auditors have to make an inquiry and accordingly report as to whether there are transactions which are represented merely by book entries, and if yes, whether they are prejudicial to the interest of company or not. So when you pass GST output liability offsetting with GST ITC receivable entry, this is a book entry itself. And because it's a book entry, and this book entry is on the basis of a legal opinion, because there is a difference between GST portal and what your books are saying. So as an auditor, you have to check whether this book entry, which is visible on the screen, whether this book entry is going to be prejudicial to the interest of company or not. And accordingly, you have to mention the same in your audit report. So what I have said, let me show on the screen. Section 143, subsection 1, clause B says, auditors need to inquire whether transactions of the company which are represented merely by book entries are prejudicial to the interest of company or not. And for this purpose, I say guidance, older days guidance also stated, the purpose of book entries is to correctly record transactions which have in fact taken place. If a book entry is passed, which is not in accordance with the facts of the transaction or is contrary thereto, this should be set right or reported upon by the auditor. Just see the words, set right or reported upon by the auditor. Again, if book entries are passed purporting to record transactions which have in fact not taken place, similar considerations would apply. So ultimately what is happening, if you are utilizing ITC for the payment of output liability of GST, but there is a mismatch of GST portal with your ITC available, and on the basis of legal opinion, you are still going ahead, then as an auditor, you have to check whether this is going to impact prejudicially the interest of company or not. And that is what the requirement of section 143(1)(b) is there. I must come to one other topic, share application money. See this balance sheet? This is one of the extract of balance sheet. So the company is RST Private Limited, and it says share application money pending allotment, which was received through banking channels on 15 January 2023, was outstanding as on 31st March 23 as well as on 31st March 24. Now, question is, what are the reporting considerations for statutory auditor to be followed for the financial year ending on 31st March 24? तो आप खास ध्यान दीजिएगा, शेयर एप्लीकेशन मनी जो मिला था लास्ट ईयर मिला था, जो कि अभी तक आउटस्टैंडिंग है, तो एज एन ऑडिटर क्या क्या बातों का ध्यान रखना होगा? सलील जी आप म्यूट हैं, शायद कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं आप? Yes, any answer? I got one answer from Abhishek ji, deposit. But Abhishek ji, when you say deposit, this is one of the, I should say, heading of your answer. But what should be done for this deposit? And let me assume CARO is not applicable. So please understand, we do have rule number 2, sub rule number 1, clause C, sub clause 7 of companies acceptance of deposit rules. In very layman words, deposit rules. What the rule says, if a company has received share application money, that money needs to be allotted within next 60 days of its receipt. If the money is not so allotted, then it shall be refunded within next 15 days. So overall, you have a 75 days of window. If it is not so refunded, then from 76th day onwards, it will be deemed as deposit. This is your deposit rules, what it is saying. Then we have section number 42 also. What it says, when you will be refunding this money, you have to pay interest at 12% per annum on this money also. Let me stop here. First of all, as an auditor, I will check whether the interest provision is made in the books of accounts or not at 12% per annum. If this interest provision is not made, obviously you will qualify the report. Secondly, because it has become deemed deposit, which is a contravention of deposit rules, you will qualify the contravention of deposit rules also. If CARO is applicable, you will qualify in para number 3, subpara number 5. If CARO is not applicable, then you will qualify in the face of the audit report. But qualification is must. To this extent, I must say most of the auditors are doing correct practice. But I must say, dear friends, majority auditors are oblivion of one reporting, director's disqualification. Can you please see again this question and tell me whether any director's disqualification is attracted or not? Because of this shared application money, whether any director's disqualification is attracted? Answer is yes. You may be able to recollect. We have section number 143 subsection 3 clause G. Section 143 subsection 3 clause G says auditors have to report whether any director is disqualified or not under section 164(2). And section 164(2) says if a company has defaulted in repayment of debentures or interest thereon, deposits or interest thereon for a period of more than equal to 1 year from the due date, then directors are disqualified. In this question, this 100 lakhs of rupees became a deemed deposit as on 31st March 23 itself, which is still not paid on 31st March 24, exactly 1 year. And this will result in director's disqualification also. So here, being auditors, you have to report not only deposit rules contravention, but you also have to report director's disqualification under section number 164(2). So when you will get this PPT, you will get all this debate which I made. Just see on screen, I am showing you. This is first contravention of deposit rules. Then this is your CARO reporting. And then this is your 164(2) disqualification. all these three things need to be captured. But yes, if CARO is not applicable, then you will qualify the deposit contravention on face of the audit report. Now, this is my first part of discussion as far as your company law is concerned. Now, let me go into Schedule 3 also. Let me show you something. Just give me a moment. Please consider this question. This is the question of Schedule 3. In the P&L account, the following expenses were debited: rent, audit fees, miscellaneous expenses. Question is, what precautions you will consider for the above? So what I have observed, in normal sense, rent expense is very common. What is observed, people are claiming rent as expense in P&L, but there is no accounting policy for leases. So please be precautious. If your client has paid rent, also check whether accounting policy for lease accounting is there or not. For lease accounting, we have standard number AS19. So lease accounting policy must be there. Otherwise, financial statement deficient. For audit fees, we have already discussed in the preceding discussion. Now for miscellaneous expenses, it's very common to see miscellaneous expenses. But generally, auditors are oblivious of materiality concept. Just see what I'm trying to say. For rent, cap AS19 policy disclosure, that is lease accounting. Audit fees, already we have discussed other question where I told you that cost auditor fees also need to be discussed below audit fees. Now, what about miscellaneous expense? Check materiality. Schedule 3 says you have to disclose separately those expenses which are exceeding 1% of revenue from operations or rupees 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So when you see miscellaneous expense, please check whether below miscellaneous expense there is any item which is exceeding this threshold. If yes, then that needs to be separately disclosed with its nature, obviously. See this question now. One of the, again, I must say, most contravened question. RST Private Limited is the company name. It has 20 employees, and hence Gratuity Act is applicable. Neither any provision for gratuity expenses was created, nor any actuarial valuation was made by the company. The management is of the view that actuarial valuation is required only when the number of employees are exceeding 50. Comment as an auditor. In my experience, what I found, majority companies which are into SME segment, and for that matter, auditors also, what they say, if employees are less than 50, then actuarial valuation is not required. Please come out of this practice. If employees are less than 50, actuarial valuation is not required only when your client is a non-corporate entity. So if you are auditing a partnership firm or a proprietorship firm or HUF or LLP, then this 50 threshold needs to be seen. But otherwise, whether the client is a big client or a small client, small company, big company, whatever company there is, if Gratuity Act is applicable and other post-employment benefits are there, then actuarial valuation is required, because there is no criteria 50 employees for companies. If actuarial valuation is not done, then qualify the report. I must tell you, without naming, you can search on MCA website. ROC Patna levied a fine of rupees 10,000 on the auditors. It is the order available on MCA website. ROC Patna levied a fine of rupees 10,000 upon the auditors because the auditor stated the financial statements of the company are reflecting true and fair view. But that company made no actual valuation. And company and the auditor both were of the view that employees are less than 50, and hence there is no need for an actual valuation. So this will not be a kind of scenario. Actual valuation is must for companies if they are providing some post-employment benefit. For this purpose, you may refer accounting standard number 15 also. If your client is small client, post-employment benefits like gratuity, etc. are there, and there is no actual valuation, please qualify the report. Now let me come to the other discussion on audit trail. So I'm changing my screen share. Ashwini ji, can you please confirm new screen is visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
So let us discuss about audit trail. So if you see audit trail, as far as auditors are concerned, Rule 11G is applicable. Now, Rule 11G says that auditors have to, in respect of financial years commencing on or after 1st April 22, report that whether company has used such accounting software for maintaining its books of accounts, which is a feature of recording audit trail, audit log facility, and the same has been operated throughout the year for all transactions recorded in the software, and audit trail feature has not been tempered, and audit trail has been preserved by the company as per the statutory requirements of record retention. So auditors' reporting responsibilities are given under Rule 11G of companies' audit and auditors rules, and similar responsibilities for maintaining audit trail are vested upon the company also under proviso to Rule 3.1 of company account rules. So we will discuss about auditors' responsibilities. Here comes question number 1. Let us see this question. Say the financial year is 23-24, first year for the companies to have accounting software with audit trail feature in use. Let us assume you are the auditor of the company for the financial year 23-24. You came to an observation that company engaged software consultants on 25th Feb 2023, and the audit trail compliant accounting software was put to use from 5th April 2023. Question is, can you say that accounting software was operating throughout the year? Any answer? तो 1st April 23 से applicable हुआ, बट ऑडिट ट्रेल का जो सॉफ्टवेयर है कंपनी का जो इन ऑपरेशन आया वो 5th April से आया. Can we say that the audit trail feature was operating throughout the year? Answer is no. So how to report? In your audit report, you will write this kind of paragraph. I am giving a simple sample paragraph. Just listen my words carefully. On the basis of information and explanation given to us, together with our audit examination, we report that company used audit trail compliant software which operated throughout the year. Now be concentrative, throughout the year except for the transition period. Except for the transition period from 1st April 23 to 5th April 23. So what will happen? You will simply mention that period during which the audit trail was not in operation. I repeat this paragraph once again. We report that the company used audit trail compliant software which operated throughout the year except for the period from 1st April 23 to 5th April 2023. So this will be sufficient reporting and there is no problem at all. Let us see some more questions. Say the financial year is 23-24, closing balances of 31st March 23 will become opening balances of 1st April 23. Let us assume Indian accounting standard, Ind AS are applicable, primarily called as IFRS, Indian IFRS. Now, during the audit of financial year 2024, the company got to know some prior period items. As per Ind AS 8, such prior period items need to be retrospectively restated. Hence, accounting changes were made in the books for the financial year 22-23. Question is whether such change needs to be captured for audit trail for the year 23-24. Answer is yes. So what happens when we comply accounting standards? Whatever prior period items are there, we will adjust in the current year. But when we have Ind AS, we will adjust prior period items on the previous year only. So now what will happen when previous year figures will be changed? Closing balance of previous year will also get the change. Corresponding to this, opening balance of 1st April 23 will also undergo a change. So you has a kind of a limitation over here. Most of the softwares are not capturing the audit trail changes in the opening balances. And hence you need to qualify the same. So in this case, what you will do, because opening balances are changed, audit trail must have been captured. If it is not captured, you will qualify the report. See the similar question number 2. This will be much more helpful. Say the financial year is 22-23. Closing balances of 31st March 23 will become opening balances of 1st April 23. During the financial year 23-24, the audit of company for financial year 22-23 is under progress. And this is normal practice that happens. On say 30th April 23, the auditors made some observations for accounting adjustments, say for provision for bad debts, and the company made such changes in the books on the same date for the financial year 22-23. Hence, the accounting changes were made in the books for financial year 20 to 23. Question is whether such change needs to be captured for audit trail for financial year 2324. Any answer? Answer is yes. तो क्या हुआ इस क्वेश्चन में? 30 अप्रैल को ऑडिटर ने कहा कि आप जो मेरी ऑडिट ऑब्जर्वेशंस हैं उसको ठीक कर लीजिए. So when auditor recommended that my audit observation should be rectified in the books of accounts, so what the company did on 30th April, they logged into their accounting package. They opened the accounting year 2223 and made the changes recommended by the auditor. What will happen because of this? The closing balances of 31st March 23 will undergo a change. Consequent upon to this, opening balances of 1st April 23 will also undergo a change. You have to check whether on 1st April 23, whatever changes have taken place because of the changes in the closing balances of the preceding year are getting captured by audit trail or not. Because the law says audit trail is applicable from 1st April 23. Up till now, Salil ji, in my experience, I never noticed any software which is having this facility. And this warrants a qualification in the audit report. Next question. Say the almost same question, so I will skip this question number 3 because simple sa same question hai. एक नया question देखते हैं. Which of the following changes need to be captured by audit trail for the financial year 2324? तो कुछ एंट्रीज मैं आपको बता रहा हूं चेंजेस के साथ. आपको बताना है कि ऑडिट ट्रेल मुझे कहां चाहिए. Date of accounting entry was changed from 29th April to 26th April. Whether this needs to be captured by audit trail, answer is yes. तो तारीख बदल गई 29 अप्रैल से 26 अप्रैल कर दिया. ऑडिट ट्रेल में चाहिए होगा. We need an audit trail over here. Amount was changed from 10,000 to 1 lakh. Whether audit trail is required, answer is yes. Account head was changed from repairs and maintenance to repairs and maintenance expenses. Whether audit trail needs to be captured, answer is yes. Accounting group was changed from other income to direct income. Whether audit trail is required, answer is yes. Lastly, narration. Narration was changed from being amount paid to T vendor to being amount paid to T vendor, namely Mr. Sham. So amount was not changed, ledger was not changed, date was not changed. Only narration was changed. Whether audit trail is required, answer again is yes. Why the answer is yes? Because when you will change the narration, you will save the entry once again. When you will save the entry once again, the time stamping will change. And because time stamping will change, audit trail is required. Even the law says record each and every change. So each and every change includes this narration change also. Next question.
The question तो वहां पे आता है जहाँ पे they change the bill amount.
हाँ सर बिल्कुल वो भी ऑडिट ट्रेल में आएगा सर.
वो ऑडिट ट्रेल में आएगा. They change the date of the bill cancel करते हैं, bill delete कर देते हैं. There is that's the major problem.
Yes, obviously it will come. Now this is question number 5, and I must say this question number 5 is one of the very prominent practice throughout the India. So let us take a situation. The company is RST Private Limited. It is having its office in Chandni Chowk. Chandni Chowk is the area in Old Delhi. Financial year is 2324. So what happened, Salil ji, here, and it is a regular practice in India, they have hired a local accountant who makes a weekly visit to the office and books of accounts are being kept by him. The local accountant is maintaining books of accounts on a common accounting package that is in this same accounting package. He is using the information of other clients also. The question is, what audit considerations you will keep in mind as an auditor? Normally होता है सलील जी, accountant आता है ऑफिस के अंदर, बुक्स रखता है, चला जाता है, तो इसमें ऑडिटर क्या क्या ध्यान रखे? So be very careful. There are two aspects. Aspect number one is, if the local accountant is keeping your books of accounts, the first thing is company law. Whether you are keeping books of accounts at your registered place or in your accountant's laptop. If it is an accountant's laptop, it does mean that books of accounts are not kept at registered office. So you have to qualify the report for that aspect. Number second, accountant may say, Salil ji, I will not give you access to my laptop. It is my property. So how you will check audit trail? In such a case, what to be done? In the audit report, simply qualify by these words. On the basis of information and explanation given to us, we are unable to comment upon the audit trail because necessary access to the same was not given by a third-party vendor who is keeping the books of accounts of the company. Kaam khatam. And the same recommendation is also given by SA 402, Standard on Auditing number 402. Are you getting my point? So you will simply say, एक्सेस नहीं मिला था, थर्ड पार्टी वेंडर के पास बुक्स थी, इसलिए मैं इस पर कमेंट नहीं कर सकता. काम खत्म हो जाता है. आगे देखो.
सर कई बार पार्टली हो जाता है. पार्ट टाइम अकाउंटेंट्स तो रखे ही होते हैं सबने.
राइट सर.
अब उसमें परचेज बिल्स हैं, सेल बिल्स हैं, लेजर्स वो दे देता है निकाल के. तो समहाउ अब कहीं ना कहीं excess books of accounts are present at the place also, registered place also, but उस केस में access नहीं होता. तो ये
एक्सेस नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा ना, आप ऑडिट ट्रेल चेक नहीं कर पाएंगे, बाकी तो चेक कर लेंगे.
ऑडिट ट्रेल नहीं चेक कर पाएंगे.
आप ऑडिट ट्रेल के लिए मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं हाथ जोड़ दूंगा, ये मेरे को एक्सेस नहीं मिला, मैं क्या करूं.
Even if the laptop is not there, purchase bills and sale bills and cash book is there on daily basis. So whether we'll take it as books of accounts or not.
They are books of accounts, but we cannot say they are manual books of accounts. They are the output of the electronic books of accounts.
Yes.
Let us see this question. RST Private Limited uses Tally as its accounting software for bookkeeping. And now be very careful. This is one of the mistakes which I highlighted in the beginning of my speech. काफी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट से गलती कर रहे हैं और इसका सॉल्यूशन भी निकाल लेते हैं हम तुरंत ही. So I read this question once again. RST Private Limited was using Tally as its accounting software bookkeeping. We noted that audit trail compliant accounting software can only be used with effect from 1st April 23. How should the auditor report for preservation of audit trail for the year ending on 31st March 24? देखिए इस क्वेश्चन में मैं यह नहीं पूछ रहा कि ऑडिट ट्रेल का पूरा रिपोर्टिंग कैसे होना. आई एम नॉट आस्किंग यू हाउ टू रिपोर्ट ऑडिट ट्रेल इन टोटलिटी. आई एम सिंपली आस्किंग वन कंपोनेंट, हाउ टू रिपोर्ट अबाउट प्रिजर्वेशन. If I go back, just see here. Just see last row of right-hand side table. What it says, auditor has to report whether the audit trail has been preserved by the company as per the statutory requirements for record retention. Now, question is, if I come to this question number 8, how you will report about preservation scenario? Please understand, you can take a note of section. Section number is 128, subsection number 5. Section number 128, subsection number 5. What it says, that the company needs to preserve books of accounts for past 8 years as a minimum. So इसका मतलब क्या होगा? What does it signify? 2, 3, 2, 4 is the first year of preservation. If I'm making an audit report for 2, 3, 2, 4, last year there is no question of preservation. क्योंकि 23-24 से पहली बार एप्लीकेबल हुआ, तो प्रिजर्व भी तो मुझे 23-24 से ही करना है. और प्रिजर्वेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है कि पिछले 8 साल में प्रिजर्व करना है. तो बट माय हम्बल सजेशन इज फॉर द ईयर 2324 ओनली, फॉर द ईयर 2324 ओनली, प्लीज रिपोर्ट दिस पैराग्राफ. जस्ट सी दिस पैराग्राफ. आई एम रीडिंग एंटायरिटी एंड दिस ब्लू पोर्शन, अंडरलाइन पोर्शन इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर प्रिजर्वेशन पैराग्राफ. So what you will write for preservation? I am reading only the second point. Since proviso to Rule 3.1 of Company Account Rules, since proviso to Rule 3.1 of Company Account Rules is applicable from 1st April 23, reporting under Rule 11G of Company Audit and Auditors Rules on preservation of audit trail as per the statutory requirements for record retention is not applicable for the financial year ending on 31st March 20. ये जो सेकंड बुलेट पॉइंट आप देख रहे हो, दिस इज रिक्वायर्ड टू बी रिटन ओनली फॉर 2324 ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. नेक्स्ट ईयर से नहीं लिखना इसको. नेक्स्ट ईयर से तो केवल क्या लिखना है, इट वाज प्रिजर्व्ड एज पर द स्टैट्यूटरी रिक्वायरमेंट्स. बट हमारा प्रिजर्वेशन शुरू इस साल से हुआ है, तो इसलिए जो 2324 का ऑडिट रिपोर्ट आएगा उसमें आपको ये वाला जो पैराग्राफ देख रहे हैं आप, दिस सेकंड बुलेट पॉइंट, दिस नीड्स टू बी रिटन. तो ऐसी गलती ना कीजिएगा कि आप ये लिख दें कि audit trail is preserved. It cannot be preserved because last year this was not applicable even. On companies, it came to applicability on 1st April 23 only. So be very careful. But yes, if you will go into the audit of 2425 next year, then this paragraph will be deleted. A new paragraph will come up that yes, audit trail is preserved as per the statutory requirements of record retention. Now come to this question. कुछ ये मुश्किल क्वेश्चन है, प्रैक्टिस पॉइंटर्स हैं. So company is RST Private Limited. Now what happened? RST Private Limited audit trail feature is applicable because it is using accounting software for maintaining books of account. Now what happened with RST Private Limited? Because of low level of business, as on 1st April 23, no audit trail feature was enabled in the software, and on 30th September 23, the board decided to keep books of accounts on manual basis, advised reporting requirement. Any answer? Question clear हुआ आपको? 1st April 23 से ऑडिट ट्रेल तो एप्लीकेबल हो गया. टैली सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करते हैं तो अकाउंटिंग ट्रेल चाहिए, ऑडिट ट्रेल चाहिए. कंपनी ने कहा कि वी हैव अ लो वॉल्यूम ऑफ बिजनेस and now we will keep books of accounts on manual basis, and they took this decision on 30 September. Now if you are the auditor of this company for the financial year 2324, what you will report as an audit? We know very well audit trail feature need not be checked when we are maintaining books of accounts on manual basis. So what we will do, the reporting will be like this: on the basis of information and explanation given to us, together with our audit examination, we report that the company used accounting software without audit trail feature from 1st April 23 till 30th September 23, post which the company transitioned or company transformed bookkeeping into manual bookkeeping. Since this scenario is there, very careful कि अगर ऐसा कुछ हुआ है तो आप ये मत लिख दीजिएगा that audit trail was operating throughout the year, because manual books के लिए audit trail नहीं चाहिए. Question number 2. The company's RST Private Limited, its financial year commences on 1st January 23 and ends on 31st March 24. We know very well that company नई incorporate हुई है तो ऐसा हो सकता है. Advise reporting requirements as an auditor for audit trail.
Not applicable.
Answer is not applicable because the words used are financial years commencing on or after 1st April. तो अगर उससे पहले financial year commence हो गया तो audit trail की applicability नहीं आएगी, तो हम क्या report करेंगे? The reporting is not applicable because financial year commenced before 1st April 23. I believe all these things are clear to each one of you. तो अश्विनी जी, मैंने कुछ समय बचा रखा है, अगर कुछ क्वेश्चंस हो तो उनको कर लेते हैं क्योंकि 15 मिनट है. क्वेश्चंस काफी सारे हो गए आई थिंक. So we will answer all the questions one by one.
हाँ जी सर, एक तो क्वेश्चन है तो वो काइंडली आप बताइए सर. एक कैश फ्लो का बताइए. कैश फ्लो अगर हम वॉलंटरली दें उसका भी कोई डिफॉल्ट है?
नहीं, कोई डिफॉल्ट नहीं है. कैश फ्लो कैन बी गिवन वॉलंटरली.
ओके सर.
कारो वाला डिफॉल्ट गलत हो गया.
कारो वाला डिफॉल्ट और टैक्स ऑडिट रिपोर्ट वाला डिफॉल्ट है. कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट आप अपनी इच्छा से देना चाहें दे सकते.
अच्छा है, बट मैंडेटरी तो स्मॉल कंपनी में तो मैंडेटरी है नहीं ना कैश फ्लो.
स्मॉल कंपनी पर 1% कंपनी पर मैंडेटरी नहीं है.
स्मॉल कंपनी और 1% पे.
और अगर प्राइवेट कंपनी है जो स्टार्टअप है उस पर ही मैंडेटरी नहीं है.
ठीक है सर.
एनी क्वेश्चन?
हाँ जी, अगर कोई भी क्वेश्चन है तो आप हैंड रेज कर सकते हैं या चैट बॉक्स में पूछ सकते हैं. वैसे तो हैंड रेज इज द बेस्ट. आप हैंड रेज करें तो मैं आपको अनम्यूट करता रहूंगा.
सर टेक्निकली एक इशू आ रहा था कि एसएपी में मतलब ऑडिट ट्रेल इज इनेबल्ड और इट इज थ्रू आउट द ईयर,
राइट?
बट एज एन ऑडिटर हम डेमोन्स्ट्रेट कैसे करें? मतलब दे सिंपली से सर इसमें तो है ही, आप चेक कर लो, एक तारीख से है, आप मतलब
आप एक काम कर सकते हो. ऑब्वियसली इट कुड बी अ कॉस्ट इशू. You can engage some systems auditor and take a certificate there from and use that certificate as per SA 620. We do have 620 number standard ना, using the work of expert. तो मैंने तो यही किया है अपने केस में. What I have done is I have taken the help of an expert and I have taken a report from CISA qualified, not DISA qualified.
हाँ जी, सुरेंद्र पाल जी आप अपना क्वेश्चन पूछिए.
सर ये अगर बुक्स मेंटेन कर रही है कंपनी मैनुअली तो उस केस में कैसे रहेगा रिपोर्टिंग?
अगर बुक्स मैनुअल मेंटेन हो रही हैं तो रिपोर्टिंग ही होगी ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन गिवन टू अस. द कंपनी इज नॉट यूजिंग अकाउंटिंग सॉफ्टवेयर इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली and hence the reportability of audit trail is not required.
सर अगर एक सेकंड पॉइंट ये है कि जैसे हम सर ऑडिट ट्रेल चेक करते हैं, मतलब ऑडिट ट्रेल में एंट्री मिलती है जो एज पर लॉ के अकॉर्डिंग नहीं है, तो उसमें सर गवर्नमेंट क्या मतलब क्या रिपोर्टिंग रहेगी सर हमारी
सर
पे?
ऑडिट ट्रेल एक चीज है, अकाउंटिंग एंट्री एक चीज है। अगर आपके एक सॉफ्टवेयर में ऑडिट ट्रेल इनेबल्ड है लेकिन अकाउंटिंग
जी।
एंट्री एज पर अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स या एज पर लॉ नहीं है, तो आप ऑडिट ट्रेल क्वालिफाई नहीं करोगे। आप ये कहोगे कि द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स आर नॉट प्रॉपर। अब वो कौन सी एंट्री है वो देखने वाली बात है। मान लीजिए एक एंट्री उसके अंदर हुई विच इज
जी।
इन कॉन्ट्रावेंशन ऑफ अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड से अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 5, तो आप क्या लिखोगे?
ठीक है।
Except that accounting entry is not complying with AS5, we report that financial statements are true and fair. ऑडिट ट्रेल का पैराग्राफ अलग चलेगा।
ओके सर, अगर कोई सर मिस स्टेटमेंट है या मतलब फ्रॉड एंट्री मिलती है हमें, जैसे कि कोई सेल थी, उन्होंने सेल कम कर दी पार्टी ने,
हाँ, तो
तो
अगर फ्रॉड एंट्री मिलती है तो ऑडिट ट्रेल से कोई लेन देन नहीं, अनलेस एंड अनटिल ऑडिट ट्रेल में कोई छेड़छाड़ टेम्परिंग हुई हो।
ओके।
तो ऑडिट ट्रेल रिपोर्टिंग
और
इज
सर
वन
ये
पार्ट,
हेडिंग,
बुक एंट्री इज अदर पार्ट।
ओके सर जैसे ऑडिट सर ये ऑडिट ट्रेल के अंदर मतलब जैसे मिलता है कि कोई एंट्री डिलीट लगी हुई है या कोई मॉडिफाई है, उससे इफेक्ट तो नहीं पड़ेगा ना, कोई हेडिंग चेंज हुई है हमारी इस चीज में?
नहीं सर, उसका इफेक्ट तभी पड़ेगा जब इंटेंशन मैलाफाइड है। ऑडिट ट्रेल से पहले हम समझ लें, ऑडिट ट्रेल केवल ये बताता है कि एंट्रीज कब कब चेंज हुई हैं। अगर वो चेंज मैलाफाइड है देन इट इज ऑब्वियसली
जी
पनिशेबल,
सर।
अदरवाइज देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम।
सर अगर जेन्युइन चेंज है, जैसे कोई हेडिंग चेंज है, कोई क्लरिकल मिस्टेक
नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल,
रेक्टिफिकेशन है,
नो
उसकी भी?
प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
एक चीज मैं और पूछना चाहूंगा बिफोर आई टेक अप फर्दर क्वेश्चंस। एक क्वेश्चन और दिखाता हूं आपको, लेट मी आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन आल्सो। इसके लिए बस एक शर्त है, प्लीज डू नॉट सर्च इन गूगल। RST प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, now these facts given are before you. Financial books of accounts other than fixed asset register are maintained on Tally. Fixed asset register is maintained on MS Excel, and on this company cost records are also applicable, and cost records are maintained on BZ. Now question is, what about audit trail requirements? एक आंसर तो मुझे लगता है नवीन जी मुस्कुरा रहे हैं, तो एक तो बिल्कुल साफ आंसर है that for financial books of accounts, yes, audit trail is must. But if fixed asset register is maintained on MS Excel, whether audit trail is required? And similarly, if cost records are applicable to the entity and cost records are also maintained on an accounting software like BZ, whether audit trail is required? Answer to both the questions is yes. Please understand section number 2, clause number 13. जरा सुनिएगा ध्यान से. Section number 2, clause number 13 defines books of accounts. And what it says, books of accounts includes the records in respect of sales and purchases, receipts and payments, all the assets and liabilities, and cost records if applicable. तो जब ये लिखा गया कि बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स आर द रिकॉर्ड्स विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ऑल द असेट्स, उसमें एफएआर भी आ गया. वी डू हैव अ जजमेंट ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड नाउ इवन इंप्लीमेंटेशन गाइड which says that spreadsheets, Excel is a spreadsheet, they're also counting softwares. So if FAR is maintained on MS Excel, then audit trail is required in MS Excel also. Now there could be other question, how to check audit trail in MS Excel? If MS Excel is original, not pirated, MS Excel is also having audit trail feature, and this audit trail feature is called as track change feature. जैसे MS Word में track changes feature होता है, ऐसे MS Excel में track change feature होता है. So what I am trying to say in a very summarized manner, if FAR, fixed asset register, is maintained on MS Excel, FAR is books of account, Excel is accounting software, audit trail is required. Then is cost records. As I already told you, by virtue of section number 2, clause 13, cost records are also covered by definition of books of accounts. And if cost records are maintained on BZ or any accounting software, audit trail is required there also. And Navin ji, what I observed, most of the auditors are not considering cost records for the purpose of audit trail.
सर एक्सेल में तो मुझे भी डाउट है. एक्सेल मतलब आई मीन
तो कवर किया कि एक्सेल में डाउट निकाल दो. एक्सेल के
जो गाइडेंस नोट की लैंग्वेज आ रही है एफएक्यू में, दैट सिंपली से कि स्प्रेडशीट अगर ऑटोमेटिकली आपके बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में एंट्री पोस्ट कर रहे हैं,
तो एक चीज वो भी देखो ना, स्प्रेडशीट डायरेक्टली अगर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में एंट्री पोस्ट कर रहा है, तो एफएआर है वो अपने आप में बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट है ना
सर. एफएआर मतलब डिटेल ऑफ एसेट्स एंड लायबिलिटी तो मेरे टैली में लेजर से भी आ रहा है ना, मतलब एफएआर
नहीं, फर्क है ना सर. जो टैली में आ रहा है वो मेरी बुक एंट्रीज आ रही हैं रिगार्डिंग द ट्रांजेक्शन व्हिच आई एंटर्ड फॉर परचेजिंग और डिस्पोजिंग द फिक्स्ड असेट। बट जो मेरा एफआईआर बनता है उसमें लोकेशन भी होता है,
बट सर
भी होता है।
एफएआर तो स्टैट्यूटरी रजिस्टर है ना, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में तो फिर
अब
तो
देखो सेक्शन नंबर 2 क्लोज 13 चलाओ अपने पास बेयर एक्ट में, और सा क्लोज नंबर 3 देखना।
सर एफआईआर कवर्ड है, इट्स कवर्ड सिंस स्टार्ट ओनली, क्योंकि जब सर मैनुअल रजिस्टर एफआईआर के आते थे उसमें भी सर वो पूरा दैट वाज इन
नवीन जी
द
तभी तभी ये वाला मैंने मुद्दा उठाया ना, ताकि लड़ाई करें हम इसके ऊपर।
नहीं नहीं फिर तो
एफआईआर जो है, एफआईआर जो है ना बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स है, दोनों में अंतर दिखे ना क्या है। बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट भी दो तरह के हैं ना, वन इज द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स व्हिच इज expressing my financial performance, and second is the books of accounts which is underlying my whole foundation. Now this FAR is my foundation books of accounts, क्योंकि मेरा जो जितना भी मेरा फिक्स्ड एसेट है वो उसमें रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है, लोकेशन आ रहा है, वेंडर आ रहा है, यूजफुल लाइफ आ रही है, आरबी आ रहा है। Now what is why नवीन जी दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज कभी हमारा ना ध्यान नहीं गया इसके ऊपर, एंड इट बिकम अ कस्टमरी प्रैक्टिस, एंड अ कस्टमरी प्रैक्टिस which is a wrong practice is becoming a right practice.
नहीं, बट ये तो चैलेंज ही हो जाएगा, सभी का एफआईआर क्वालिफाई हो जाएगा फिर तो, अगर मैं एफआईआर
करना क्यों है? आप एमएस एक्सेल के अंदर अपने क्लाइंट को बोलो ना कि जो ट्रैक चेंज फीचर है वो इनेबल कर दे, काम खत्म हो जाता है।
हाँ वो तो फिर मैं आज बोलूंगा ना सर पिछला साल तो क्वालिफाई हो गया।
और सर उसके लिए उसके लिए सर जो
हाँ,
एक्सेल है वो भी सर नॉन पायरेटेड वर्जन चाहिए।
नॉन पायरेटेड
उसमें
चाहिए
तो वो दैट इज वेरी एक्सपेंसिव आल्सो।
नहीं अभी तो एमएस ऑफिस आपके लैपटॉप के साथ आ ही रहा है ना, मतलब 365 ये सब आ ही रहा है।
ये गौरव जी अपने उस क्लाइंट की बात कर रहे हैं जहां पर वो पायरेटेड यूज हो रहा है।
नहीं नहीं चैलेंज ये नहीं है, वो उसको बताना पड़ेगा कि भाई तू एक्सेल में अपडेट कर ले तो उसका पिछला साल क्वालिफाई हो रहा है, ये एफआईआर का थोड़ा सा
और
इशू
क्वेश्चन
हाँ
बताइए,
जी
और क्वेश्चन होंगे आपके
सर,
पास?
नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन ले ले सर।
यस सर प्लीज।
हाँ जी, सौरभ जैन जी। सौरभ जैन जी, अतुलपुरी जी।
कमल
हाँ
जी
जी
एक चीज बताइए मुझे,
जी सर।
एक असेसी ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस जो है नए सॉफ्टवेयर में डालता है आफ्टर फाइनलाइजेशन ऑफ द बुक्स,
राइट।
बिकॉज उनकी जुलाई में अगस्त में वो फाइनलाइज हो जाती है, ऑडिट वगैरह शुरू होके ऑलमोस्ट खत्म हो जाता है, और वो ओपनिंग बैलेंस अगले सॉफ्टवेयर में डालते हैं आफ्टर द फाइनलाइजेशन ऑफ द बैलेंस शीट।
राइट।
तो अंडर दीज सर्कमस्टांसेस when they put the opening balance as on 131/3/23, let us in the month of July,
right,
so we will write that this has been entered in the month of July,
obviously yes sir,
but it is not going to make the quality of the audit.
Sir, here the question is not about quality of audit, the question is about a compliance.
No, compliance okay.
For example, most of the people to believe that audit trail के आ जाने की वजह से you will not be able to change the entries. It's not like that.
That I know. That I know. That is only when they want to know what changes have been made and when. That's
yes. So if the opening balances are entered or say on 1st of July, so what is happening? The financial year began from 1st April. That means the time stamping of opening balances ideally should have been 1st April, but it is shifted to a locus of 1st July.
Yes.
So this may raise eyebrow, and for that eyebrow, audit trail is there.
But that is the system they are doing right from the beginning. 12-14 साल से तो हमको ऑडिट हम कर रहे हैं, वो सारा बैलेंस फाइनेंस होने के बाद ओपनिंग बैलेंस लेके चलते हैं, बल्कि हमने इस पे 2 दफे ऑब्जेक्शन भी की थी कि हाउ विल यू नो व्हाट टू पे एंड हाउ टू पे, कितना किसका है, because they issue credit notes also later.
The thing is, because this is the first year of this audit trail implementation, it is evolving, so it will take some time to ripe.
Right.
Because people will have problems now, and accordingly the things will be developing.
But what I told my client was to be on the safer side. I will write this.
Yes.
This is a, even if you are following this system, we will mention it in our audit report.
Right. And more importantly, one more submission is, please do take management representation letter also about audit trail.
That we take every year. It is written in every management representation letter that all opening balances are after finalization of the previous year accounts.
Right. So there is a question in the chat box. What will be the situation in case of HR software used for processing of salary? So the answer is, if the salary processing software automatically dumps salary entry into the accounting software, then yes, audit trail is required. Otherwise, this salary computation software will not qualify as books of account, by virtue of section 2 clause 13, and hence trail is not required here. But I have a different perspective also. Audit trail is not required as far as company law is concerned, but still, in my personal view, trail is required as a matter of internal control system. So my suggestion is there can be some scenarios where softwares are used for processing of accounting data which are not qualifying books of accounts, and hence audit trail is not required legally. But still, as an auditor, I may need to ask for audit trail as a matter of good internal control system.
कमल जी, इसका मतलब ये है कि where they have a separate software for calculation of the salaries and taxes, etc., applicable on that salary, and they just make a single entry at the time of on the payment of 7th day, and on 31st March they credit the amount which is calculated earlier.
Yeah.
So we don't have to report that.
There is no need because the software is not automating the same entry into the accounting software ना, आप manually कर रहे हो उस चीज को.
जी 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 जी.
लेकिन अगर ये ऑटोमेटिक होता तो ट्रेल में कैप्चर हो जाएगा, जो अभी नवीन जी बता रहे थे ना FAQ, उसमें यही तो बात
जी जी जी, वो तो फिर ऑटोमेटिकली हो ही जाएगा ना, जिस दिन एंट्री होगी पता लग जाएगा उस दिन.
या
सर ये ओपनिंग बैलेंस लेट अगर हम अपडेट कर रहे हैं, जैसे अतुल जी का भी क्वेश्चन था कि वो 1 जुलाई को, तो उसमें इशू क्या है, मतलब
उसमें इशू ये है कि क्या वो ऑडिट ट्रेल का पार्ट बनेगा कि नहीं बनेगा. आंसर इज यस. टाइम स्टैंपिंग की वजह से क्या होता है नवीन जी, जब आप नया फाइनेंशियल ईयर शुरू करते हो ना, जो अकाउंटिंग सॉफ्टवेयर है उसमें अगर आप ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस नहीं डाल रहे हो, तो सॉफ्टवेयर बैक एंड पे जो ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस हैं उनकी टाइम स्टैंपिंग 0 पे कर देता है. अब आप क्या करोगे, 2 महीने के बाद 3 महीने के बाद बैलेंसेस अपडेट करोगे तो वो 0 से एक नया बैलेंस बनेगा और टाइम स्टैंपिंग में चेंज होगी, तो वहां पर मुझे ऑडिट ट्रेल कैप्चर करना पड़ेगा.
नहीं, कैप्चर हो रहा है, मेरे केस में कैप्चर हो रहा है.
कैप्चर होने पे समस्या ही नहीं है ना.
हाँ, फिर तो ठीक है ना. अगर कैप्चर नहीं हो रहा है देन ओनली इशू ना,
देन प्रॉब्लम है. There's a question by Mohit Dhiman ji. Please clarify whether provisional financial statements can be signed by statutory auditor of the company. Answer is a big no. It cannot be done unless and until there is statutory requirement that provisional financial statement needs to be attested by statutory audit. So in that very case, if you will attest, you have to use guidance note on special purpose certificates. Otherwise, plain, frank, blunt answer is no. Statutory auditors cannot attest provisional financial statement. It will be kind of resulting disqualification also. Exception is only when there is statutory requirement. For example, if your client wants to go to SME listing, or if the client wants to go to social stock exchange listing, then they may be requiring provisional financial statement to be attested by statutory auditor. Then no problem. Else, it is disallowed. Then there is a question by Ankish Gandhi ji ka question hai, what are the consequences of not maintaining audit trail software? So Ankish Gandhi ji, we do have section number 128, subsection number 6. I repeat, section number 128, subsection number 6. The minimum penalty is 50,000 and maximum it can go to 5 lakh rupees. तो 50,000 रुपए से लेकर 5 लाख तक की पेनल्टी है. ऑडिटर पर नहीं है, अगर वो क्वालिफाई कर देता है तो आपके होल्ड टाइम डायरेक्टर पर, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर पर, डायरेक्टर फाइनेंस पर ये पेनल्टी लग सकती है. एंड द रेंज इज 50,000 at least to 5 lakhs maximum. And other questions. There's a question by Pushkal Soni ji. What will happen if share application is received from director in private limited company and it is pending for allotment? Whether deposit rules will be applicable here or not? So, Soni Saab, in that very case,
import okay?
In this very case, this will be exempted deposit and deposit rules will not be applicable. I am making an assumption that director paid this money out of his own funds, not from borrowed funds. So it will be exempted and there will be no problem at all. Then we have
सुनील शर्मा जी का भी एक क्वेश्चन है, हैंड रेज है सर. सुनील जी पूछिए.
हाँ जी हाँ सर. गुड इवनिंग कमल जी.
गुड इवनिंग सर.
ऐसा है, एक ना CAG अपॉइंटेड गवर्नमेंट कंपनी है मेरे पास. अब उन्होंने क्या किया कि 23-24 में उन्होंने मार्च में कहीं ना स्ट्राइक ऑफ के लिए डॉक्यूमेंट फाइल कर दिए हैं.
ठीक है.
तो अब उस केस में उन्होंने तो मुझे वो बैलेंस शीट दे दी नील वाली ना, किसी और CA से साइन की हुई.
ठीक है.
तो अब मुझे क्या आगे फर्दर क्या करना कि वो अंडर प्रोसेस और स्ट्राइक ऑफ है.
इसमें एक खास चीज ध्यान रखने वाली है, जो हमारे पास डीपम एक ना PSC में डीपम आता है.
ओके.
है ना, DIPAM.
ओके
और एक
ठीक है।
हमारे डीपी गाइडलाइंस आती हैं, आप पीएसयू को बोलना कि मुझे जो डीपीएम का सर्कुलर है वो दे दे। डीपीएम ने क्या किया था, some
हाँ जी
3-4 years back, DIPAM issued a
ओके
circular. Those PSUs which are non-performing PSUs, they should either go for restructuring or should go for strike-off.
ओके
So because of this reason, your PSU board may have decided to go for strike-off. This is number one. एक तो वो सर्कुलर ले लीजिए। दूसरा क्या करना है,
ठीक
आपको
है।
जो ऑडिट रिपोर्ट आप इशू करेंगे आपकी बार, उसके अंदर
हाँ जी
मटीरियल अनसर्टेनिटी अबाउट गोइंग कंसर्न को रिपोर्ट कर दीजिए।
ओके ठीक है सर ठीक
इसका
है।
फॉर्मेट आपको मिल
हाँ,
जाएगा एसए नंबर 570 से।
570 राइट सर
तो उसमें
थैंक यू।
रिपोर्टिंग ये होगा कि वी ड्रॉ द अटेंशन ऑफ मेंबर्स ऑफ द कंपनी टू नोट नंबर XYZ ऑफ नोट्स टू काउंट्स। नोट नंबर XYZ में आ जाएगा कि कंपनी ने स्ट्राइकिंग ऑफ के लिए अप्लाई कर दिया
ठीक है जी ठीक है ओके
है ना, और इससे फिर आपका ऑडिट रिपोर्ट फाइनल हो जाएगा।
ओके सर ओके थैंक यू सर थैंक यू वेरी मच।
बट आप सर्कुलर जरूर ले लेना डीपम वाला।
हाँ मैंने नोट कर लिया सर थैंक यू।
देन इज क्वेश्चन there is a statement by Ankish Gandhi ji, unlimited small companies as per Companies Act. Ankish Gandhi ji, I will add upon unlimited as per Companies Act, but it will be in the overall cap of 30 when we will read council guidelines. So there is a very good question by somebody, and the question is, can you please explain what will be the situation wherein director is also shareholder, whether we need to see him as director or as shareholder? So the simple answer is you will see him in twin capacities, one as director and second as shareholder. So this will be opening a big window for receiving money from such individual. There is a very good question again from Mr. Raj Pava from HUF of directors. So HUF is not considered relative. So you will refer section number 2 clause 77. Section number 2 clause 77 of Companies Act says that members of HUF are relative, but HUF is not relative. So if HUF is giving loan to the company, it will not be considered that relative of director has given loan to the company. So be very careful. HUF, if is giving loan to the company, it will not be considered relative.
ठीक है चलो
नहीं बिल्कुल
अब आप जा रहे हो।
Then is a question, cash flow is not applicable to SMC. SMC means small and medium sized companies. So the thing is, cash flow is not applicable to small companies. But जैसा अश्विनी जिंदल साहब ने पूछा था अभी, आपकी ऑप्शन है, you want to give cash flow statement, yes you can give, there is no contravention, so it is optional.
Sir, I have a small query regarding small companies.
Yeah.
Like suppose companies, they have some notional entries only at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have any business transactions
Mhm.
specifically. Like some companies receiving rent, maybe
Right.
a one odd entry or one odd entry after 6 months, 3 months.
Right.
So now in those cases, what is done? The books of accounts are maintained after 31st March only
No
because there
problem
are
at all.
hardly 5 to 7 entries.
No problem at all. See, simple answer is, sir, if you refer section 128 of Companies Act, precisely if I say section number 128 subsection 1,
Okay, sir.
the section says you have to prepare and maintain books of accounts. The section nowhere says the timing on which journal entries will be passed.
Okay.
Meaning thereby, even if I am passing journal entries after the expiry of the year,
Okay.
but these entries are in compliance with accounting standards, there is no contravention at all.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Subject to GST repercussions, if any.
Okay.
क्योंकि GST में टर्नओवर आपको जाता है periodically उस हिसाब से.
Done.
But
So as
otherwise,
such, are we required to report anything on the maintenance?
no way, not
No,
required.
no.
Not required.
I think
Okay.
Kamal ji ki once the report mentions that the audit trail is missing or it
Mhm.
has been not properly recorded,
Mhm.
then even the income tax department is going to look into it very carefully.
Yes, obviously yes. In that very case, even section 206 आप नोट कर लीजिए. Section 206 of Companies Act may be triggered, and ROC may order for inspection of books of account. Yes,
That
any other
is more
question?
serious.
That is more serious. अश्विनी जी देखिए कुछ और क्वेश्चंस भी हैं क्या?
जस्ट अ मिनट सर।
सर ये कहीं ट्रेल लिस्ट है कि लिस्ट ऑफ जो एरर जो डालना है कब सॉफ्टवेयर में कोई लिस्ट है कौन कौन से?
अभी एज ऑन डेट तो कोई लिस्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि फर्स्ट ईयर है तो सबके एक्सपीरियंसेस होंगे। लिस्ट शायद अगले साल कुछ बन पाए।
अच्छा, क्योंकि कई बार वो ना कैश की एंट्रीज, कैश बुक अगर हफ्ते में आगे लिखता है बंदा डे बुक, तो वो अगले हफ्ते कैश बुक लिखी जा रही है, तो वो कैश की वो भी आ जाती है, कैश डेटेड सो एंड सो। ऑडिट ट्रेल मैंने देखा है कि 6 की एंट्री इन्होंने 10 को की, 2 की एंट्री 8 को की।
तो सर आपको ये देखना है ना कि वो मेलाफाइड इंटेंशन है या बोनाफाइड है। हम
नहीं,
देखो दो तरीके हैं ना सर, देखो देखने के। एंट्री रह गई थी इसलिए बाद में की, या एंट्री बाद में ही करनी थी इसलिए बाद में की।
ये बाद में आता है बंदा इसलिए आया। जो जो आता है डेट वाइज वो अकाउंट्स डेली बेसिस पे नहीं
तो
लिख।
उस केस में जेन्युइन रीजन से चैलेंज नहीं आएगा। पता
अच्छा।
सलीम की चैलेंज क्या, अब चैलेंज क्या मुझे लगता है आना चाहिए,
हम्म।
बिकॉज ये अपना हम अपने आपस में बात कर रहे हैं। अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट जनरेटेड यूडिन,
यस।
and after generation of UDIN, it was found that the book entries are changed for the given financial year. This
यस।
could be a new challenge.
यार वो
देखो जी, कैश की एंट्रीज का तो बेस्ट तरीका यही है दैट यू इशू इम्प्रेस्ड
हाँ।
एंड इम्प्रेस्ड के थ्रू व्हाटएवर एंट्रीज यू वांट टू डू यू कैन
वो
डू।
तो सर देखो सीए रास्ता निकाल ही लेंगे। जाएगा।
अच्छा, इसकी पीपी आप दे रहे हैं?
पीपीटी मैंने ऑलरेडी भेज दिया जिंदल साहब को।
सर मेरा
Thank
एक
you, sir.
क्वेश्चन
Thank
था।
you.
सर मेरा एक
हाँ जी, हाँ
क्वेश्चन
जी,
था।
हाँ जी, पनीता जी पूछिए
हाँ जी,
क्वेश्चन
हाँ
अपना।
सर जैसे आपने कहा था कि आपको बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन देना चाहिए अकाउंट्स के लिए ऑडिटर को।
टैक्स ऑडिट के
सर
लिए।
जब टैक्स ऑडिट के लिए भी, ऐसे स्टैट ऑडिट के लिए हम ड्राफ्ट अकाउंट्स बनाते हैं डायरेक्टर्स,
हाँ
उस टाइम पे हमें एक रेजोल्यूशन लेना है। जब
हाँ
ऑडिट होके अकाउंट साइन होते हैं तो
हाँ, तो
उस
दो
केस
रेजोल्यूशंस बनते हैं।
2 रेजोल्यूशंस बनते हैं और सब
वो रियल
डिफरेंस
वर्ल्ड में लोग कम बनाते हैं, बट 2 बनने चाहिए।
2 बनने चाहिए ना। और सब मीटिंग में डिफरेंस कितना होना चाहिए जब
दैट
ऑडिटर
इज योर
साइन
दैट
सेम
इज
डे
योर
पे साइन
चॉइस।
होता है? ऑडिटर सेम डे पे साइन करता है जिस डेट पे डायरेक्टर साइन करते हैं।
तो वो
मैम
तो
उसमें ना
नॉर्मली सर मेरी भी क्वेरी रिजोल्व कर दीजिए। वो नॉर्मली क्या होता है कि मीटिंग सुबह में दिखा के तो शाम के लिए
हाँ
एडजॉर्न कर देते हैं हम।
उसका तरीका है ना अश्विनी जी और वनिता
हाँ
जी,
जी,
आपको भी सेम आंसर दे रहा हूँ। जो
हाँ
रेजोल्यूशंस बनते हैं ना उसमें ये इस तरह से लिखा जाता है कि रिजोल्व दैट द ऑडिट of financial statements was concurrently going on,
ओके
which was approved by the board of directors now, which was taken on record by the auditors without any changes, and hence the auditor's report was issued.
ओके।
और
हेलो
सर
सर।
ये भी
एक
सही
बार
है कि
सोचने
कई
वाली
बार
ना
सुबह
वनिता
के
जी।
टाइम पे,
हाँ जी, क्या करें अश्विनी जी?
सर कई बार क्या होता है कि सुबह 11 बजे की मीटिंग है तो हम लिख देते हैं कि अकाउंट्स आर पास्ड एंड द मीटिंग इज एडजॉर्न्ड फॉर देयर साइन टिल 4 o'clock।
चलेगा सर, परफेक्ट है,
ऐसे ही करते थे।
परफेक्ट
हेलो
है।
सर।
हाँ
हेलो
जी
सर।
सर, हाँ जी
सर
सर,
मैं CA Kalra from Chandigarh.
हाँ
Sir, I
जी
have
सर,
one query. We are
यस सर,
recently doing statutory audit of a listed company.
यस
The
सर,
company has undertaken a due diligence of vendor by the Big Four,
हाँ जी,
and the report was submitted in December 2023.
ठीक है।
Now, it is a primary written on the report is a purely confidential report, and they are not they are refused to show to us. So, what should we do as auditor in our audit report on that issue?
क्वालिफिकेशन आएगा सर, आप इसके लिए नोट कर लीजिए एसए नंबर 620। और वो स्टैंडर्ड कहता है कि अगर आप मैनेजमेंट एक्सपर्ट की हेल्प लेते हैं और आपको रिपोर्ट नहीं दी जाती है, देन विल सिंपली क्वालिफाई। इसको दूसरी भाषा में पार्शियल डिस्क्लेमर ही बोलते हैं।
Okay. So, we have to show it main audit report.
मेन ऑडिट रिपोर्ट के फेस पे आएगा।
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, sir.
हाँ जी, हरीश बांसल जी।
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि कोई कंपनी आईबीसी में है तो उसके फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट को कौन साइन करेगा? क्या बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर करेंगे या फिर आईपी करेंगे?
एक तो सर इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल करेगा, वो तो मस्ट है।
ठीक है।
दूसरा, कम से कम 2 डायरेक्टर्स और
ओके
साइन करेंगे बिकॉज ऑफ द जजमेंट गिवन बाय एनक्लैट इन सीएलसी इंडस्ट्रीज लिमिटेड केस।
ओके। आईपी के सिग्नेचर इसमें मैंडेटरी रहेंगे सर?
वो मैंडेटरी है सर, सेक्शन नंबर 17 और 18 की वजह से ऑफ आईबीसी।
ओके। मेरा एक सेकंड क्वेश्चन ये था सर, कोई कंपनी अगर क्लाउड पे अपने अकाउंटिंग मेंटेन कर रही है तो क्या हम उसको ऐसा ट्रीट करेंगे, कंपनी मेंटेन बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट एट रजिस्टर्ड प्लेस ऑफ कंपनी?
यस यू कैन, बट उसमें एक शर्त है। जो रूल 3 कंपनी अकाउंट रूल्स आता है उसमें आपको चेक करना है कि क्या ये वाली बात आरओसी को इंटीमेट की है कंपनी या नहीं की है।
ओके
तो आप कभी टाइम निकाल के ना रूल 3 ऑफ कंपनीज अकाउंट्स रूल्स को देखिएगा, उसमें ये सब बातें लिखी।
ठीक है, थैंक यू सर।
सर मेरे ख्याल में मोस्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन आपने सारे ही रिजोल्व कर दिए, कोई भी नहीं है। तो हमारे सेंट्रल
ज्यादा डिटेल्स में चाहिए हो तो ये कुछ मेरी बुक्स हैं। and you will get all the questions and solutions here most of the cases.
आप इनसे रेफरेंस ले सकते हो, इनकी बड़ी अच्छी अच्छी बुक्स हैं मेरे पास, ये भेज भी रहे हैं ऑटोग्राफ देके लाइब्रेरी के लिए, अगली बार फिर मैं दिखाऊंगा भी वो।
हाँ सर, पक्का आपको बुक्स मिलेंगी सर।
वो हमारे काउंसिल मेंबर,
बाकी लोग जो है इस नंबर को जो नीचे लिखा है यहाँ पर व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं, ऑडिट बुक्स करके यू विल गेट द एंटायर पैम्फलेट की कौन कौन सी किताबें हैं, एंड दिस विल बी रियली यूजफुल फॉर यू।
हमारे सेंट्रल काउंसिल मेंबर फाउंडर वॉइस ऑफ सीए संजय अग्रवाल जी हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं। संजय जी।
जी नमस्ते।
हाँ जी, तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि काइंडली आप बस 5 मिनट के लिए बने रहें। संजय जी से मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि जो भी ये कमेटीज हेड कर रहे हैं, जहाँ कोई अपडेट है इंस्टीट्यूट के रिलेटेड, जहाँ इलेक्शनों के रिलेटेड जो हमारे होने वाले हैं, तो उसके लिए जरा डिटेल में बताएं। संजय अग्रवाल जी।
पहले तो मैं ये कहूंगा आई एम सॉरी, एक्चुअली मेरा एक फ्रेंड जो है उसके फादर जो है हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हो गए, तो वो उसने मुझे कॉल करी कि भी तुमको मेरे पास आना है, इस वजह से मैं लेट हो गया। मैंने अश्वनी जी को रिक्वेस्ट करी कि 3-4 मिनट इसको चला लो और मैं उसको गाड़ी में बैठ के जो है ज्वाइन करता हूँ। दूसरी चीज ये कि जो अभी कमल जी का पूरा नहीं हुआ है, पहले आप इनका वो जो है अपना जो है वेबिनार पहले पूरी कर लो, फिर मैं
कंप्लीट है सर, कंप्लीट है, वह 5 मिनट लगाने हैं।
कमल सर, कैन आई टेक द लिबर्टी?
Yours sir, all yours.
Okay, so thank you very much viewers for joining us on today on this webinar for the audit, and I think the way our cash book is tally, as we say every time, when the question answer is over, it means the cash book is tally, and when cash book is tally, the accountant can sleep properly. So मेरा सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और कमल सर का भी जो है धन्यवाद कि उन्होंने कहा। और जो आपकी बुक्स हैं सर, अगर आप लिबर्टी दें हमें तो हम अपने फोरम पे उसको दें। अगर कोई आप स्पेशल कंसेशन दे सकते हैं वॉइस ऑफ सीए के मेंबरों को, तो वो अगर आप दे दें। अदरवाइज भी हम जो है अपनी जो मेलर जाती है उसमें हम चाहेंगे कि हमारे जितने भी व्यूअर्स और जो हमारे यूजर हैं वॉइस ऑफ सीए के, वो जो है उसको अपना मतलब जो है रेफर करें, उसको हमेशा यूज करें, और जहाँ कहीं भी जरूरत हो तो आपको फोन कर लें, अगर मेल कर लें, या कुछ जो है जैसे भी आप जो चीज भी सर्कुलेट करना चाहें उसको सर्कुलेट कर सकते हैं। पब्लिशर का नाम वगैरह भी दिया हुआ है सर आपने ना?
हाँ जी सर, दिया हुआ है सर।
अच्छा ठीक है सर। अब सवाल यह है अश्वनी जी का दूसरा कि इंस्टीट्यूट में जो जो कमेटियां मैं हैंडल कर रहा हूँ, मेरे पास इस टाइम 3 कमेटियां हैं, और सबसे ब्लू आइड प्रेसिडेंट की कमेटी है एग्रीगेशन ऑफ फर्म्स। इसके अंदर जो है हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि कुछ इस तरीके से काम करें, जो हमारी मर्जर डिमर्जर की गाइडलाइंस है वो रिवाइज कर रहा हूँ, और जो उसमें कुछ क्लॉजेज ऐसे हैं जो कि आज तक हिंड्रेंस होते हैं और 5 साल से पहले डिमर्जर हो जाते हैं। हम एक स्टडी बना रहे हैं, और जरूरी ही हम आपको अगले 10 दिन के अंदर पब्लिक उसके कमेंट्स के लिए हम उसको देंगे। और जो मर्जर डिमर्जर की जो गाइडलाइंस है वो रिवाइज हो रही है। दूसरा, हम एक एलएलपी मॉडल जो है नेटवर्किंग का ला रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो हमारी नेटवर्किंग है उसमें अभी तक सिर्फ 200 कुछ फर्में हैं। उसका मेन रीजन ये है, जो नेटवर्किंग है ये नॉन एश्योरेंस वर्क के लिए अभी आज के मॉडल्स के अंदर परमिटेड है। हमने एक मॉडल खोजा है जिसके अंदर हम एलएलपी अम्ब्रेला बना लेंगे। अम्ब्रेला एलएलपी जो है वो जो है अपने अंडर जो है एलएलपी को पार्टनर बना लेगी, और कंपनीज एक्ट की जो रिक्वायरमेंट है, कमल सर सुनना ध्यान से, जो कंपनीज एक्ट की रिक्वायरमेंट है कि पार्टनरशिप फर्म या इंडिविजुअल या एलएलपी जिसमें 50% चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट अगर पार्टनर हैं तो वो ऑडिट कर सकती है। क्योंकि पुराना वाला जो हमारा नेटवर्किंग है उसमें वो एओपी थी और एलएलपी नहीं थी। अब हम एलएलपी इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाह रहे हैं, और जो हमारे इंडिविजुअल पार्टनर्स होंगे वो 50% उसके अंदर हम रख लेंगे। फॉर एग्जांपल 4 एलएलपी पार्टनर बनानी है तो 4 इंडिविजुअल पार्टनर हम अलग से बना लेंगे और 4 एलएलपी पार्टनर बना लेंगे। तो उस केस में अम्ब्रेला जो हमारी एलएलपी है वो भी ऑडिट कर पाएगी, और जो उसके अंडर सब्सिडरीज या उसकी बच्चा एलएलपी है वो भी अपनी इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिट कर सकेंगे। लेकिन सेक्शन 144 का ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा। उसके लिए हम एक वेबसाइट बना रहे हैं, एक ऐप बनाएंगे जिसके अंदर सब लोग अपने डाल देंगे, वो अपने सर्वर में रहेगा, उनके क्लाइंट का क्लाइंट सीक्रेसी उसके अंदर रहेगी, सो दैट वो 144 को कहीं भी वॉयलेट ना करे। तीसरा, हमने ये देखा है कि अप्रोक्सीमेटली 60,000 के करीब टोटल 1 लाख फर्में, 90,000 समथिंग फर्मों में से 60,000 फर्में प्रोप्राइटरी हैं। जब मैं इसकी एज एनालिसिस कर रहा था तो 50 to 55 ईयर एवरेज एज आ रही है हमारे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट जो इन फर्मों के प्रोप्राइटर। नॉर्मली पहले इसमें बना रहे थे लोग कि बैंक ऑडिट इसमें प्रोप्राइटरी में भी मिल रही थी। अब आज की डेट में प्रोप्राइटरी बैंक ऑडिट नहीं मिल रही, बल्कि पार्टनरशिप में भी नहीं मिल रही। तो हमने ये सोचा कि ये जो है, हेलो हेलो, एम आई ऑडिबल?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी सर,
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
तो हमने ये सोचा कि ये जो है सक्सेशन कैसे होगा, कल को ये फर्मों के जो है लोग जब जो है रिटायर हो जाएंगे तो कैसे जो है वो अपनी फर्में चलेंगी। ये तो हमने इसमें एक डिपॉजिटरी का कंसेप्ट ला रहे हैं कि आप अपनी फर्म को कंडीशन से नॉमिनी लगा के आप डिपॉजिट करा दे। फॉर एग्जांपल, मेरा सन जो है या मेरे सन का सन, वो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट अभी नहीं बना है, लेकिन जब बन जाएगा तो वो प्रैक्टिस करेगा, तो वो मेरी फर्म की लीगेसी ले लेगा। फर्म के नाम को परचेज, सेल, गुडविल, ये सब प्रोविजन हम इस वाले प्रोविजन के अंदर लाएंगे और कोशिश करेंगे कि जितनी भी डिफिकल्टीज हमारी प्रोप्राइटरी फर्म्स को आ रही हैं वो सब अपनी दूर हो जाए, और वो लाइफ टाइम में कभी भी वो मेंबर जब भी चाहे अपनी लाइफ टाइम में या अपनी लाइफ के बाद अपने नॉमिनीज अगर वो जब भी रिक्वेस्ट करें तो उस फर्म को हम जिंदा कर देंगे विद रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव इफेक्ट कि वो क्या डेट ऑफ इस्टेब्लिशमेंट है उसकी। फॉर एग्जांपल, मेरी 62 की इस टाइम जो है वो 64 की मेरी फर्म है, क्योंकि मेरा पार्टनर जो है उसको अपना, उसका पार्टनर जो है, जो उसका ओनर था, वो उसको गिफ्ट दे गया और वो मेरे पार्टनर मेरे इसमें मर्ज हो गया, तो मेरी फर्म की 64 की इस्टेब्लिशमेंट है, जबकि मेरा बर्थ 62 का है। तो मेरा ये कहने का मतलब है कि कुछ एक एडवांटेज जो सीएजी वगैरह के हैं, जो आरबीआई के हैं, उनको जितना हो सकेगा हम उतना कोशिश करेंगे कि वो हमारे पास आए, हम लोग उनको वो कर सकते हैं, उनका बेनिफिट उठाएं, और ये हम इसमें लाने। इसके अलावा ओवरसीज नेटवर्किंग भी, और इनबाउंड और आउटबाउंड नेटवर्किंग, ये दो कंसेप्ट हम जो है इसमें नए और डालेंगे। इसके बाद हम एडवर्टाइजमेंट में, और उसके बाद हम ये लाएंगे कि कौन सी ऐसी चीजें हैं जो हिंड्रेंस है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, कॉर्पोरेट फॉर्म ऑफ प्रैक्टिस आज की डेट में अलाउड नहीं है। अगर उसके अंदर किसी तरीके से हम गवर्नमेंट को रिप्रेजेंट करेंगे, सेक्शन 25 में अगर वो अमेंडमेंट कर दे तो वो भी हम इसमें लाएं, ताकि वैल्यूएशन का, इक्विटी का, बड़ी फर्म बनाने के लिए, बड़ा नेटवर्क बनाने के लिए उन चीजों को इस्तेमाल किया जा सके। ये मेरी मेन कमेटी है जिसमें मेरा काम आजकल चल रहा है। इसके अलावा मेरे पास एक और कमेटी है जिसमें टैक्सेशन ऑडिट क्वालिटी रिव्यू बोर्ड है, जिसमें हम जो है बड़ी बड़ी फर्मों को जो है वो ऑडिट करते हैं उनकी, और उनको हम चेक करते हैं कि उन्होंने टैक्स ऑडिट प्रॉपर्ली करी नहीं करी। अगर नहीं करी होती है तो हम उनको जो है एडवाइजरी देते हैं, उनको क्वेश्चन देते हैं। इस तरीके से हम जो है वो अपनी जो है उस ऑडिट से करते हैं। इस साल हमने जो है 100 कंपनियां चूज करी हैं और 10 ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग हम चूज करेंगे, और मैंने टारगेट रखा है कि 10,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा की जो कंपनियां, इंक्लूडिंग बैंकिंग कंपनी, फाइनेंशियल कंपनी, स्टार्टअप, उनको हम प्रायोरिटी में लेंगे, उनके नंबर ज्यादा लगेंगे एज कम्पेयर टू स्मॉलर कंपनीज ऑफ मोर देन 1,100 करोड़। ये दूसरी कमेटी है। तीसरी कमेटी जो है मेरी इस टाइम है कमेटी फॉर एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एंड मेंबर इन पब्लिक सर्विसेज। इसके अंदर नॉर्मली हम लोग सिर्फ पब्लिक सर्विसेज में जो हमारे मेंबर होते थे उनको बुला के उनकी गाइडेंस लेते थे, उनको जो है वो मंथन करते थे खाली, और उनके पॉइंट को लेके आगे हम लोग काम करते थे। इस बार मैंने इसको थोड़ा सा चेंज किया। हम लोग जो 30 साल तक के बच्चे हैं हमारे, जो कि आईएएस, आईपीएस, आईआरएस या इंडियन कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट की सर्विसेज में ज्वाइन करना चाहती है, ट्राइब्यूनल के मेंबर बनना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए हम जो है वो स्पेशल ट्रेनिंग और उनको गाइड करने के लिए हम अपने लेक्चर्स और अपने वो लगाएंगे, जो कि हमारे ही जो मेंबर्स हैं जो पब्लिक सर्विसेज में जो सक्सेसफुल हैं, बड़े बड़े हमारे जो मेंबर हैं, उनको हम उसमें बुलाएंगे और उनको बताएंगे कि अपने मेंबरों को बताएं कि कैसे जो है वो हम जो है इन पब्लिक सर्विस में अपनी प्रेजेंस बढ़ा सकते हैं। क्योंकि हमें इसलिए जरूरी है कि पब्लिक सर्विसेज में अगर हमारे आदमी होते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल पुलिस में है, आईआरएस में है, आईएएस में है, तो पॉलिसी मेकिंग में अपने इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की से आ जाएगी। ये मेरा दूसरा और तीसरा कमेटी है। लेकिन एक ऐसी चीज मैं बताना चाहूंगा अपने मेंबरों को, शायद हम दिसंबर जो 24 में चुनाव होने वाले हैं उसके अंदर हम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वोटिंग का सिस्टम हमारा पूरा तैयार हो गया है, फाइनल टेस्टिंग हो गई है। हो सका तो हम अपनी वोटिंग जो है कंसोल पे जाके पोलिंग बूथ पे कंप्यूटर पे करेंगे और रिजल्ट हम जो है जो 10-10 दिन में आते थे वो रिजल्ट हम 1 या 2 दिन के अंदर फाइनल दे देंगे। ये एक कुछ बैकग्राउंड है। बाकी कोई क्वेश्चन आंसर अगर कोई करना चाहे तो अश्विनी जी हैंड रेज करा लीजिए। कोई भी क्वेश्चन, मैं 3C के कंसेप्ट को हमेशा कहता हूँ कि कंप्लेंट और कमेंट्स और कम्प्लीमेंट्स। Compliments is the last choice which we wanted to receive from you. So anything if somebody want to raise, कोई भी रेज करना चाहे तो मैं ओपन हूँ किसी भी क्रिटिसिज्म की, किसी भी चीज को आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं, मैं आपको बताऊँ। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
अरुण टिब्रीवाल जी का एक क्वेश्चन है जी सर।
हाँ जी बोलिए, बोलो, आप पढ़ दो प्लीज।
हाँ जी अनम्यूट किया है जी आपको अरुण जी।
डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक का गाइडेंस नोट नहीं आया है कोई भी लास्ट 13 साल से।
डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक का
हाँ, ऑडिट के लिए लास्ट 13 साल से कोई भी गाइडेंस नोट या टेक्निकल गाइड नहीं है उनका।
नहीं, आपका जो बैंकिंग जो हमारी जो गाइडेंस नोट बैंक ऑडिट का आता है उसी में होना चाहिए, वरना आप मंडे मुझे फोन करना, मैं रेलेवेंट कमेटी से पूछ के बताऊंगा।
हाँ, मैंने देखा था गाइडेंस नोट में नहीं है। मैंने इंस्टीट्यूट को भी लिखा था, उन्होंने भी कोई जवाब नहीं दिया।
नहीं कोई बात नहीं, मैं मंडे शूट जाऊंगा। आप मेरा नंबर अगर आपके पास नहीं है तो मैं नोट करा देता हूँ।
हाँ प्लीज।
98
110 80
342। कंट्रोल रूम चैट बॉक्स में भी लिख दो प्लीज।
थैंक यू।
हाँ जी, और अश्विनी जी और कोई?
और नहीं है कोई संजय जी। वैसे तो हम नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम आपका भी करेंगे तो उसमें जो क्वेश्चन होंगे इसके रिलेटेड दोबारा आपसे लेंगे, क्योंकि अभी टैक्स ऑडिट पे भी आपका करना है, अभी एक हमने न्यू फॉर्म्स पे भी करना है।
वेरी गुड।
हाँ जी, तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद संजय जी और कमल गर्ग जी का कि जिन्होंने जो मेन क्रक्स का 3 चीजों का, चाहे वो शेड्यूल 3 के रिलेटेड थी, चाहे वो कारों के रिलेटेड थी, जनरल कंपनीज एक्ट और ऑडिट ट्रेल के रिलेटेड थी, उन सब के रिलेटेड जितनी भी हमारी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, जिसमें भी हमें दिक्कत आती है, वो सारी इन्होंने आज मेंबर्स की बड़े अच्छे ढंग से क्लियर की कि अब मेरे को लगता है कि हम इफेक्टिव ऑडिट कर पाएंगे और कोई एरर हमें नहीं रहेगी। आई एम रियली थैंकफुल टू कमल गर्ग जी। और आपकी बुक्स भी सर हमें रेफरेंस के लिए मेंबरों को वॉइस ऑफ सीए की तरफ से संजय जी ने जैसे कहा है कि हम सर्कुलेट कर देंगे। बाकी मेरी सभी से यही रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी जो मैंने शुरू में भी की थी कि संजय भाई को हमने सेंट्रल काउंसिल मेंबर बनाना है और हमें रिप्रेजेंट करने वाले लर्नर्ड काउंसिल मेंबर चाहिए, तो हमें इसके लिए भी प्रयास करते रहना है। हम अपनी तरफ से प्रयास जारी रहेंगे, नॉट ओनली फॉर द इलेक्शन ईयर। ये हमारे प्रयास कोविड से बाद कंटिन्यूसली चल रहे हैं और इसी प्लेटफॉर्म के माध्यम से हम वेरियस टॉपिक्स करते रहते हैं एवरी ईयर, नॉट इन द इलेक्शन ईयर। हमारा काम भी मोदी जी वाला है कि 5 साल काम करना है, लास्ट वाले 6 महीने नहीं करना। तो इसी वजह से मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि संजय भाई को हमने ज्यादा से ज्यादा मतों से जिताना है जो हमारे दिसंबर में इलेक्शन होने वाले हैं। विद दिस वर्ड थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू एवरीवन।
थैंक यू सर।
गौरव जी को कहूंगा कि गौरव जी भी जरा डिटेल में थैंक्स करें जो हमारे
वोट ऑफ थैंक्स
दें।
स्पेशली मेरी डॉटर नेहा का आज, क्योंकि अश्वनी जी के चाचा जी की डेथ हो गई आज, कमल जी, तो इनका फोन आया कि शायद मैं अवेलेबल ना हूं, तो मैंने जो है तैयार करा डॉक्टर को अपनी, बोला मैंने कहा आज जो है जो करता है उसके कर्ता का जो है रोल आज करके देख लेना। तो नेहा का भी थैंक यू। नेहा ने आज उसको कमान संभाली शुरू में। थैंक यू सर। गौरव भाई
थैंक यू सो मच सर। कमल जी यू आर ऑलवेज एन इंस्पिरेशन फॉर मैनी सर। जब भी ईयर स्टार्ट होता है या जब भी फाइनलाइजेशन का टाइम होता है, साल में 2 आपके सेमिनार हमेशा मेंबर्स को बहुत सारी डिफिकल्टीज से बाहर निकालते हैं। चाहे वो कोई भी चीज हो सर, चाहे वो रिपोर्टिंग हो, चाहे वो कैलकुलेशन हो, चाहे वो ऑडिट ट्रेल का, जैसे आपने पॉइंट बताया, देयर वर सो मच कंफ्यूजन ऑन ऑडिट ट्रेल एप्लीकेबिलिटी एंड आल्सो ऑन द डेफिनेशन ऑफ स्मॉल कंपनी। जैसे सलिल जी ने भी पहले बताया कि स्मॉल कंपनी के एप्लीकेशन को हमेशा ही बंदे इग्नोर करते रहते हैं। सो माय हम्बल थैंक्स टू यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस and blessing all the members with your words of wisdom and knowledge every time sir. Boka is very much thankful to you for sparing your valuable time in spite of your busy schedule, and also sir your books are very much valuable since day one of our studies in CA course. your books are very much valuable to pre-professionals and post-professionals, all the people who are able to get knowledge from your books every time and throughout the year, whether it may be the start of the year, whether it may be the finalization of the year. So thank you so much, sir. With these words, I request you to please be with us and join us like anything, and keep blessing us with your knowledge, sir. Thank you so much.
And Kamal sir, let me tell you, 100 members we are having even in vote of thanks. जबकि अभी मैं कहीं बैठा था,
सर थैंक यू वेरी मच। मेरा सभी आज मेंबर थे वो मोर देन 300 थे जो लाइव हमारे साथ ज्वाइन थे, तो मैं सभी का बहुत बहुत तहे दिल से धन्यवादी हूँ। और जल्दी ही तीसरा प्रोग्राम इस महीने का हम बड़ी जल्दी आपको सर्कुलेट करेंगे। थैंक यू।